Greetings, salutations, and other big words. My name's Ethan. My handle is Wrangler. Welcome to Frequency Studios, weekly Wing It number 149 here on Rumble and YouTube. And starting it off with us tonight, as usual, is Mr. Frederick Guimon.
Hello, everybody. I wasn't supposed to be here, yet here I am, defying all odds. How's everybody doing today?
All right, and as usual, you are our favorite defiant brick. All right.
Did you call me a defiant prick?
I think that's what he said.
I thought you would be proud of that, but
Well, I am, but I'm also surprised you're usually so polite that I didn't,
I'm trying to adapt to so Patrick's style doesn't cause a tonal whiplash.
That's smart. But Patrick's not that bad from my recollection, though. My recollection is pretty bad, so who knows?
Hail, gentlemen.
Hail. And also joining us, the Lord Otter.
Howdy ho, ladies and gents. I am an otter. I am also your lord. Now give me lots of fish and clams, or I will conquer your lands.
You would probably love to have that singing bass mounted on a wall, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah. He loves to do the little jig for me.
And also tonight, Mr. James Esparza, who just released the first 2 episodes of Evergreen on Substack and Royal Road. James, how you doing?
I am doing well. So far, it seems the few people who have read the short story have actually liked it very much so. And we will be releasing these weekly, or our usual is bi-monthly. We are going weekly on this one. Prepare for 15 straight weeks, or at this point, 14 weeks of short stories coming your way. You can enjoy this.
Awesome. And joining us here on the Wing It for the very first time, please welcome Mr. Patrick Quinlan. We watched his trailer right before the intro. How you doing tonight, Patrick?
I'm wonderful. How are you, gents?
All right. And we're going to be discussing Giants tonight. How'd you like that intro with Paul Bunyan?
Giants.
I love that, actually. That was great.
Nice.
Good to have you on, man. So how's everyone doing? What's been going on?
Writing a lot, working a lot, dealing with PDF files and scripts and going crazy. But it's been busy, but the good kind of busy where you get a lot done. So it's good to be here, to be sitting down, resting, to land back on Earth. I just went through my sandwich metamorphosis, and I am now the pug. I will once again fly off into deep space after this. As for now, I am here relaxing.
All right. And let's see. Patrick, let's start off. I'm pretty sure everyone here knows who you are, but just start off. Give us a quick rundown on who you are, what you do, and why everybody should go check out Comicsgate Commandos.
Sure. So my name is Patrick Quinlan. I'm the host of the Comicsgate Commandos, which is a YouTube show where we try to promote independent comic books, especially lesser-known independent comic books. I am also the writer and creator of Phenomenon 1999 and Phenomenal Tales, which are 2 connected but separate comic book series. And when I have free time, I like to play music and sing, and yeah, that's essentially me.
Sweet. And you chose an interesting topic for tonight. It's apparently here there be giants.
Mm-hmm.
This is auspicious because I just finished watching a video produced by what's his name? Jackson Crawford, I believe, who is a Norse specialist who talked about giants in Norse mythology.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I always found it kind of interesting though, because I mean, in our modern portrayals of Norse mythology, which what we do have is still kind of like we fill in a lot of gaps with
Oh,
the
yeah.
information to begin
Tons
with.
of gaps.
But the frost giants, the ice, all the different giants in Norse mythology, yet they would intermingle and interbreed, have families. The Asgardians and the giants. A lot of ideas were giants is referring to them being powerful, not their physical size. But then in some cases, some of them were huge, while others were regular size. It's kind of weird. Norse mythology is tough to pin down.
It's also something that is brought up that it's also very dreamlike. To consume Norse mythology, it's almost best to see it as taking place in a dreamscape where things aren't always the size they would appear to be, or they may morph in size depending on what's going on and things of this nature. It's very dreamlike.
That's part
it's
of
like
the
a
charm of
mythological acid trip.
That's part of the charm of Norse mythology, is the fact that you have a lot of feats that are very exaggerated.
Yes, and the poetry as well. Like they go on straight poetry jams.
So Patrick, there's a lot of different lore surrounding giants, but there's mythology, there's biblical history, and then there's all sorts of just different things that are straight up fiction for fun. Like I think the last time we spoke, you mentioned Attack on Titan.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you like to start?
Well, I would like to start with aspects of giants that I don't know much about that you guys know more about. So, I mean, starting with Norse stuff would be great because I'm not really well versed with. If I'm well versed in any mythology, that would be biblical mythology, Sumerian, and a little bit of Egyptian, but I don't really know a lot about the Norse. I used to study Norse, I read Norse sagas when I was younger, but I never really delved deep into the mythology. And then once the Thor movie came out and things were kind of sanitized for the masses, I kind of just took a step away. So I haven't really taken deep dives. I always love like primary sources and things. So if you guys have good suggestions for primary sources of Norse mythology, that'd be the place to start.
The Eddas is usually a good place to go for that. The poetic Eddas, prose.
I think that's where we get all our information on the mythology to begin with, isn't it? I don't know if there's much more.
I believe those are prior to Christianity, because there's some stuff after Christianity, but it starts mixing in Christianity.
Interesting. I think they ended up almost like putting the two together like a continuity, like Ragnarok and the end of all things, when Thor and Odin finally died, is when God stepped forward and the earth became without form and without void and took it over from there. Like not saying, I think they're saying that this one era ended and God started over a new era after theirs, but they're still saying that God created all of them even before them. And it's a weird mix, but I guess they did that to help make the conversions from paganism to Christianity easier.
Yeah, it was for conversion. But yeah, those are basically what we have prior to Christianity, the Prose Edda and Poetic Edda. And basically, there's so much we just assume about almost everything, because there's a lot of missing references or sources, or not very descriptive of names. Some individuals only appear through name one time, things like this. But then again, when you talk about the Bible, that also happens a bunch as well. Like with the character of Judas. We call him Judas Iscariot because there's more than one Judas.
Yeah, there's like 3 different Judases in the Bible, maybe 4.
Yeah, and there's one that's literally sitting at the table with them at the final supper, and he has only a single line ever in the entire Bible, and it's right there at the final supper. And often people attribute that line to Judas Iscariot because he's only mentioned the one time.
Yeah, and what made me realize, oh, there's multiple dudes named Judas in here, is I'm reading the chronological Bible, and so it takes everything, it segments it all up, and then puts it in chronological order, so you could just read it right through in narrative form.
Mhm.
And after the crucifixion, and then the resurrection, and then Christ ascends, there's still a couple dudes named Judas around. I'm like, oh, hey, there's more of them. Except they
Yeah.
didn't betray Jesus. These are the ones that were cool, you know?
Yeah, it's like the name Jude is a direct translation of Judas. Just think of a bunch of dudes named Jude.
Yeah. I do wonder how the a lot of the names in there were said originally in the Hebrew languages and Greek
Yeah.
languages. We got
Yeah.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. These sound like guys walking down the street in modern day America by
Pietro.
name. So I'm pretty sure there's a different pronunciation for them. They're just like, you know, it's kind of like Mateo and Matthew. They're the same name in different languages.
Yeah. Yeah. Same thing happens in the Eddas, like Loki. There's multiple Lokis. Most people
Oh yeah,
don't know it.
Utgard Loki.
Yes, exactly. And I think the best way it was explained is just imagine if their name was John. There you go. It makes much more sense. You can imagine multiple people named John, but we always attribute these the names of the gods to a singular individual.
Yeah, my name is Utgard Loki. Okay, nice to meet you, Luke.
I don't know why, but I hear that like Arnold trying to do like his whole sort of like Terminator shtick, going like, "I'll be back. You see you, Odin. You stay right there."
That's funny.
Well, it was a Germanic.
Also,
legend, so.
speaking of giants, yesterday I had the opportunity to unveil the movie Kung Fury to Wrangler for the first time.
The first time?
I almost made a clip from that the intro tonight, James. I never heard of Kung Fury before. I didn't know it. I'm sure somebody mentioned it around me. It didn't sink in. But I almost took Thor from that movie instead of Paul Bunyan for the intro tonight.
That was a very cool metal Thor in that movie. They got a very metal Thor.
Yeah.
And he was as dude bro as you would expect. I mean,
Yeah, my thanks.
Thor, you're shredded. Thanks, bro.
he starts kissing his
What was your
bicep.
first impression of that movie, Wrangler? Then
My first impression, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm getting a kick out of this. But it was like after I went to bed, I woke up, and as I'm driving to work, it started to kind of sink in, and I'm just laughing thinking about it. Next thing you know, I spent the next couple hours just listening to reviews. Most of them are like 7 to 10 years old, but reviews on Kung Fury and having a good laugh. Listen, and it was really cool. It's like listening to reviewers talk about this movie. This was before the whole political woke agenda stuffed in everything. So these reviewers weren't trying to like
2016
turn it into all that. Yeah, it was like they hadn't totally infected everything yet. So it was like there was no virtue signaling or anything in their reviews, which was awesome.
refreshing.
Yes, and if anybody hasn't seen the movie Kung Fury, it's only a half hour long. You can find it for free on YouTube because it was a crowd-funded film, and they just released it out there. Check it out. You have a good time.
Yeah.
Also, hi, Maji.
It's always been.
Hey,
Hey, Omaji.
Hey.
thought I'd give you guys a heads up. The stream was created for kids only. Be very careful what you say, and no one can interact in the chat.
Oh,
really? Let me see if I can fix that.
That's going to limit the visibility of the stream as well.
I actually think I know why that happened. I never
I
went.
just thought I'd warn you so you don't
Oh,
get your
boy.
channel nuked unintentionally talking about adult subjects.
Like
Thank
a
you. I
very-
just changed it now. I completely forgot to go over to YouTube and do the fine tuning after I set it up with StreamYards tonight.
And if the
So-
channel did get nuked, I would blame Patrick for that.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
should.
Well,
There you go.
obviously.
Oh
Okay.
no, I'm actually excited to see what Patrick's project is, but
Thank you.
Patrick,
not for
stop
children.
nuking streams.
At
Yeah.
all.
I thought I'd warn you guys as quickly as possible. I was still walking home when your stream started.
I am so grateful you let me know, Maji. I
Yeah,
completely
thanks for
forgot to
that.
do this. And I
'Cause
was
they
wondering
will
where.
nuke your channel if you advertise to kids wrong.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because I never go to YouTube to find. I know that after the fact, when you try to edit the video, it says, "Is this for kids?" Yes, no, and I always do no, but like, I never do that when setting up the stream. So now I'm thinking, like, all of my woes over last Saturday might have been self-inflicted because I just didn't.
Yeah, you can go into your settings, and so you can preset what all your videos are going to be. So you can tell them, make all my videos not for kids. So that's a setting you can actually activate ahead of time. So everything that you do automatically will go with that setting without you having to enter it each time. I just learned this like a week ago.
Okay. That should be better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering what was going. Something didn't seem quite right, and now I know why. So yeah, I just went in, I changed it, and
Here,
put
I'll
in all
see
the
if
stuff.
I'll log
Yeah,
on to my phone
commentary
and
was
see.
had moderation on there too. I usually remove all moderation from the comments before the stream. All of that stuff I just completely blanked on because I was playing with Clipchamp setting up a new intro for tonight.
Oh, by the way, we've got another person who is about to be published. What say you, Maji?
It's coming. It's heading right for us.
Yeah, I see that in your
Exciting.
there we go.
If you know the reference.
Is that the squirrels in South Park when they're out hunting in the woods?
No. It's Dusty from Twister.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's already here. It's not
I-
quite here yet, but it's gonna be.
I was thinking that South Park episode where they took the kids out hunting, and every time they shot an animal, they see an animal and just automatically shoot it. But before they did, they shout, "It's coming right for us!" They're like, "That way, it's legal."
No, we're getting close. We're the final draft is completely done. We're doing the editing of the pictures to see if they could fit inside the book because I only have about 5 pictures, but I kind of want them in specific spots.
Yeah. Did the last one come through yet?
Last one came through.
Yes. Ah.
Heck yeah.
It's adorable. You could definitely tell a kid drew it.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Speaking of drawings and stories, Patrick.
Well, hold on a
The-
second. I don't know anything about Maji's book, comic. What is it?
It's a novel.
It's a prose novel.
It's a little novella. It's only going to be
It's
about
epic.
200 and something pages. A little mini epic.
What's it about?
So okay, originally it started off to help Roy. You know who Royce from A Drink with Crazy, right?
No.
He's one of the guys in my intro. So remember when you in my comic book?
That guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it originally started out to help boost his channel, so it wasn't even intended to be a real story. It was kind of like a gag to make fun of him, sort of thing. But it started off as this tiny little what was it originally, like supposed to be a 20,000 word novel or little short story, but I fell in love with the storyline. Like, so my prologue was my original story, and I kept asking, okay, so what happens after? And I ended up creating this entire novel that I didn't intend to be a novel. It was really just intended to be a little fun-hearted just gesture for somebody else. But he's like, nope, you wrote the novel, it's yours.
Because the complete genesis of this was people were making fun of him because he had a Wednesday show where he would go through his Twitter, and artists and authors would post like their books or their comics or their projects.
Comic Shop Wednesday.
Yeah, and he would go through, and I was on there. Maji was on there. We'd be like co-hosting and choosing and helping, vote for stuff. And on one night, people were making fun of him. They're like, "Oh, you missed what was it, Shalar? Something Shalar?"
Mhm.
Yeah, somebody said you missed the Legend of Shalar. Go back to the Legend of Shalar.
Which
And-
wasn't
yeah.
on there.
Yeah.
And so he would
I
just
think
have
it was Kikoman trolling him.
he had
Made
such
him
a
search up and down his
Oh,
whole
yeah.
feed looking for something that wasn't there.
The
Yeah.
whole thing started out as trolling.
And so
But
people made fun
it-
of the Legend of the Shalar, and then eventually a bunch of people started writing, making it a reality. In other words, the joke became real.
But
Yep.
no, it started as a joke, but see, here's the thing. There's still a lot of sarcasm and humor in mine but it became its own little mini epic fantasy with a lot of really deep like vibes. You got two guys trying to just be dads and trying to make sure their family survives the next generation. The entire town gets pretty much obliterated in a cosmic event, and now they got to figure out, okay, what's next.
Also, there's an otter in there.
There is an otter,
Hey guys.
and a cat.
but
Was he a
I'm
bad
still
kitty?
trying to figure out how to describe
Ew,
the
Raven.
story itself. But basically, solar eclipse happens and unleashes a supernova onto the planet, and now they gotta figure out how to stop it while also trying to realize everything that they knew was destroyed at the same time.
Damn.
And I'm gonna throw some music on in the background here, just a heads up, because usually when I first start playing it, whoever's trying to talk gets drowned out by the sound compression for a couple of seconds. Yeah. All right. Hopefully that doesn't affect anybody's talking.
Yeah, it originally started out as a joke to help boost Roy's channel, but it kind of took on a life of its own because it wasn't supposed to be a real story. But
And was that something where you like couldn't help yourself? Like it just came to you and you were like, I just got to write it out.
Actually, Billy Bob Sack carried it on. Kikoman started it on the stream in the comments as a joke, and then Billy Bob got a whole bunch of us together and said we're all writing Shalar stories. All because after a couple weeks of the Shalar troll, because the next week everybody was saying it in the chat as a joke, and he wasn't falling for it, but they're just jabbing at him.
Mhm.
And he said, knowing my luck, you're all writers. Somebody's going to write that story and make me have to cover it. And as soon as he said that, Billy Bob hopped on Gilded and tagged everybody. He's like, get in this group. We're writing the story of Shalar. So we were all writing Shalar short stories. But when Maji started hers, it kept expanding on her and she kept adding to it. And now it's a full-blown novel.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
Maji's is the most detailed of pretty much all of ours by far.
Yeah, mine's
At least
only
to
a
my knowledge.
mine's only a regular short story. It's 11,000 words. She's got a whole novel out of it. But I do understand how that goes, Maji, because originally when I wrote my first book, I thought it was just going to be a short story, maybe a short novella at best. I didn't expect it to go out to novel proportions either. It's funny how those things happen.
I just included a tome that had the title Legend of Shalar.
What's up, Christy? Lady Wolf is in the chat.
well, it was
Hey,
even
Chrissy.
more than that. Like when I was writing it,
Nice to see you.
part of me felt like it needed to be written. So it started off as a joke, but the more I was trying to answer the question of, okay, so what's the cause and effect, and the more it just bloomed into a full-on story. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Oh, it does.
It does.
Yeah. Well, when I first started writing Phenomenon, like, I don't want to get too far into it, but like, I wrote one thing, and then I was like, how do we get to where where this story begins? How do we get there? Because there's a lot of stuff in it that's like wild and crazy, and I'm like, hey, this is not going to be like, it's going to be a little like a fish out of water type thing. So then I went back and wrote what is now Phenomenon. So like everything you guys read that I put out right now is essentially a prequel, kind of. And it exploded into, 330 pages of script, but that'll end up being, I don't know, 15 issues, 16 issues. We'll see. And then that's not even the story. That's just the beginning. That's not even the real story I tried to tell when I first started back in 2015 writing this.
Talk about giants.
Yeah, seriously.
Turn into giants.
Like I said, my prologue was the original story, but it just kept eating at me. Like there needed to be more told.
Yes.
Am I saying that this is the most monumental book in the world? No, it's just a common hero's journey. But at the same time, it really just kind of was like somebody else was writing it, because there's no way I could write it.
Yeah, stories
became so big and so awesome, she had to ditch her original gag ending because that would undercut the whole thing. I still remember your original ending.
I know it would have been epic if it was still the short story, but
yeah, after a novel that would feel like an FU rug pull.
But I'm really hoping, like I said, I don't know. This is my first real attempt at actual writing something deep other than little short stories. I was not an author by any means, shapes, or form. In order to make this book happen, the second draft, which I thought at the time was my beta, turned out to be my alpha. I got the notes back and went back and completely rewrote it again, and also hired Daniel P. Riley to not only be my editor, but do some writing lessons so that it didn't sound like an amateur writing it.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I do still remember that short story you wrote before you even started that, called The Geisha. And even though it was only like, what was it, 4 or 5 paragraphs, but it was very, very dense and very... There was so much to it. I was like, yeah, you got a talent there, Maji.
Thanks.
Well, it's good too that you're getting advice from real humans. No, I mean that. Like, a lot of people are like, I'm just going to do AI now. And eventually, if everybody does that, it's going to you're just going to be like everybody else. If you keep doing, using AI for whatever, to learn how to be a good writer, to figure out what you need to correct about your own book. And
Grok, is what is Patrick saying really true?
No, Patrick is wrong and also very bigoted.
I love AI for researching physics. When I'm like doing something, I'm like, wait a minute, is this enough force to do this? I like looking that kind of stuff up to make sure my scene is right, so I don't have scientifically minded people going, no, that's wrong, it doesn't work that way. So I double checked physics through that and figure out, hey, for this star system, where would the hypothetical habitable zone be for this star system, if there could be one, and under what conditions would it work? I asked stuff like that.
Oh, Wrangler, space is totally fake. And AI is just upholding that terrible, horrible scourge upon humanity of belief that we think that space is real.
It might not be real, but it's really, really cool.
It is cool. I will admit that. Yep.
I have no room to talk. I watched a bunch of how-to videos on YouTube and learned how to make a Coke can heater and a Coke can generators for my quote-unquote dwarven technology.
They have Coke?
Well, the idea of using the cans, but I figured it would probably be the closest thing to realistic steampunk I could get and still be real technology for advanced fantasy.
Nice.
So technically the apparatus made in the story to help kind of move things along is a real thing. You can make it. And it's made fairly simple for what it is.
Nice.
So let me ask you this, Maji. In your Solar book, are there any giants?
Actually, no, there's hints like, so I'll reference, basically when the blast escapes, I I actually based it off of Mount St. Helens pyroclastic flow. And so, like, there's a couple of descriptions where I used where it was describing the destruction and used reference and comparing it to a raffled titan. So I do have hints at titans in there, but not actual giants.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not talking about like Paul White. I'm talking about like 15 footers or whatever. How tall was Goliath? I can't remember. What was-
Goliath by cubits was approximately like 11 to 13 feet tall.
Okay, I was thinking he was around 9 feet. He was probably one of the smaller ones. Do we know the names of any other giants in the Bible or just Goliath?
Yeah, Og, OG, he was a giant.
Mm.
And they describe his bed being made of iron and also being ridiculously large. He was, and then they mention also in what was it, either Numbers or Deuteronomy, when they sent some not spies isn't the right word, scouts out to reconnoiter the Holy Land, and these guys aren't named, but they came back and were like, oh yeah, no, we can't go there. The sons of Anak are there, and we were mentioning earlier about how sometimes you know one name is just dropped, and then like sometimes it's you got a name for one guy and then a bunch of people also have that name, but sometimes they just drop a name or an idea and they never expound upon it. They never just like talk about what that means.
That's why sometimes when you open the Bible, you got to put on a hard hat, turn on that flashlight, and do some more digging.
Yeah. Because it's fascinating. Because if you go into it, like they just like nonchalantly drop a bunch of names and ideas that at first glance you're like, well, hold on a second, that's kind of important. Are you not going to go into details about that? And the Bible just it just doesn't. And I think that's because for most people who would be reading the Bible back in the day, it was common knowledge. Like it was
so the best way I've heard it described is it wasn't directly written to you as the first audience.
Right.
The first audience.
The context has a lot to do with it in that manner.
Right.
Yeah.
So
this
Genesis
is the
6,
second Avengers movie.
The Genesis 6 portion is like they just kind of just throw that out there. They're like, the sons of God, and then they had giant children and yada yada. Well, moving on. We're gonna move on.
Well,
But it makes me think if anthropologists look back on here from like 1,000 years from now and they're digging through and they're like, wow, who's this Chuck Norris everyone keeps referencing? He must have been a mythological he was one of the gods of the United States.
He was the god of, what does it say? Kung Fu.
Kung Fu meanery.
Whoa. Before we go out on a limb here, like, isn't it right that before the flood, everyone was kind of a giant as well? Like Noah was like.
Well, that's a theoretical assertion. So
the theory is that the world was a lot richer in oxygen around the time. There's
also,
higher air pressure.
Gravity was probably different.
Yes.
Well, I mean, okay, I'm the second shortest in my family, and I'm 6 feet tall. So I can actually, it's not too hard to imagine, just genetic-wise. It just depends on where you're located, where your genes are.
Are you?
My little brother is 6'8", so I like to joke that my older brother, he ended up going into a career of computer forensics. There's me, and then there's my little brother who's 6'8". So I'm like, all right, you had a Sasquatch and a Neanderthal, and somehow my older brother turned into a computer scientist. How did that happen?
What was your question, Patrick?
Are you of like northern or Nordic descent? Yeah.
So primarily Celtic and Germanic.
Oh.
So yeah, the pretty much up north.
Well, then you descend then from the old gods. Makes you feel a little better.
There is some native in there, but that's Grandma, not me.
That's pretty cool. The natives are awesome.
Yeah, Grandma's a fourth native, so.
That's very.
I'm not
What tribe?
We actually don't know. So her grandma and her dad both were so afraid of being caught off the reservation, they claimed they were Mexican their entire lives.
Oh, wow.
Amazing.
That's
So
great.
that's what history does.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It does. Mm-hmm. Bastards.
They were so terrified that grandma every time, even my mom asked her great my mom the only memory I know of my mom having of her grandma is when near when she was dying. She's like, "Okay, grandma, please tell us what tribe you were from, just so we could do some genealogy." Grandma took a wood spoon and smacked her.
Huh.
That was something they took to they took to the grave because they were that afraid of being cut off the reservation.
That's why my family, for a while, we thought we were part Indian because there was a big gap on my grandmother's side for her family history, and we're like, they were probably hiding the Native American side of things. So when they started doing the genealogy, I didn't, but a lot of my family members did. We were utterly shocked to find we had no Native American in us whatsoever, which also surprised me because I figured any family that's been in this country for a few generations would have some Native in them at this
Yeah,
point.
there's a lot of
Oh, no,
native that
there's
has
no
been
denying
erased
it,
as well. Like especially in the French Canadian, like they whitewashed all the history. So everything that was Native American in the lineage, they changed it to French names just to erase it all. So we can't do the work anymore.
Oh wow.
Yeah, my great grandpa, you could look at him and tell because even though he was only half, I know this growing up with him. Even though he was only half, he looked 100% native. Like my cousins have the dark native skin tone and the longer, I mean not the longer, but the darker browns in the hairs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
My particular branch of the family, you can't tell at all.
My mom's
There's
dad
nothing.
had a drop of native blood. Unfortunately, my mom was adopted.
Yeah. I don't
Or
have
fortunately, I mean,
nothing
it's
to say my
better to be adopted than not adopted.
True.
Yeah. I don't have enough native in me to claim I am, but my grandma technically is.
I'm not
Well, you're
native
still a
in the
descendant
slightest.
of them either way, so it's an honest
Yeah.
claim.
Yeah.
They're just
But
they're very
if you-
noble people, though. The Native
Well,
Americans are really. I mean, I know that they engaged in savagery, but so did every culture across all of history. And the Native Americans had
Every ancient culture.
Yep.
a certain nobility to them that I don't think,
Yeah,
like
immortal.
it's not comparable to other, what would you call them? Less civilized societies that people encountered across the world. I feel like the natives of America really stood out in that regard.
Mhm.
And let me say, hail to Immortal Rising Comic.
Hey,
What's up,
Aaron.
man?
Hail,
What's up,
sir.
They were
And-
very diverse.
I miss
the
you, Aaron.
tribes
Come back
were-
to the show.
the tribes of the Native Americans are very different from each other.
Yeah, they are.
Depending on where you go,
Yeah.
And to be fair, Patrick, your French Canadian ancestry might also include Native
Oh my
American.
God! Don't get me excited. That would be sick. If you told me I was part Algonquin, I would lose it, man. That'd be awesome.
As long as you're not
Literally,
Iroquois, then I'd have to scalp
Okay,
you.
as long as you're not one of those son bitch Iroquois.
Hey, Wrangler, put me up on the big screen real quick. Something like
All
that.
right. Give me a second. I got to get back to the keyboard.
Yeah.
James has the long hair today. He looks Native American.
Yeah, you are.
Well, I'm
Native
Mexican,
American.
so if you go far enough of the,
Yeah.
you know what? I am Native American because the term Native American, my people are from America, but I'm not an American Indian. I'm not part of the tribes, But literally today, this comic came in. This little
Oh,
little
nice.
Oh, blow him up, Wrangler.
and the reason why
Wrangler's
this
on a
is
smoke break. He's coming.
the reason why let's see if he can actually show it all right. Doesn't look too blurry.
Door.
Turn
Door
off the blur.
kickers.
Let me turn off the blur real quick. There we go.
Yeah.
My background's messy, but screw it. So this door kickers, I ordered it 3 years ago. On,
No
Oh,
way.
wow.
one of the Indiegogo whatevers. It finally arrived. It's
I
Oh,
actually
give
wow.
up on
a
all my
thick comic.
Indiegogos.
It looks like 30-ish pages. It came with a bookmarker. So it's
Oh,
door
wow.
kickers on the back. And it came with a little sticker as well. And it also came with a poster, which is pretty
Oh,
cool.
wow.
That looks cool.
Nice.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, nice.
And best of all, it came in an actual delivery package, which they should all come in, and my information's on the front, so I'm going to show you the back. A nice comic box
Yes.
that folds open. They say this
Oh,
is
wow.
how you send stuff.
Yeah, a
Yes.
Gemini mailer is what you call
I
it.
say that because I have ordered many things off the internet, and not all of them actually come in the appropriate packaging, and
Yeah.
this one did. One of them actually that didn't. I want to show this book off, or I still can. Look at my Mickey Mouse T-shirt.
Mickey.
This one came in, which it's hard to see there.
Oh, that's
wow.
Radio plays.
Oh,
Yes, I showed off a copy of this before. I've got addicted to ordering copies of this book. It's the first one that actually has the dust cover that I've owned. I got 3 of them. Reason I'm ordering so much of these is because these were printed in the 40s, and there's only 1,000 of them out there.
Oh, you want to own the market?
I want to own the market on them. So that's what I'm doing. I'm only in the market.
James, you need to hook me up later.
Radio plays. Radio
That's
plays.
awesome.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. I could almost smell it through the internet.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, the smell of old books.
I have many
Oh.
books. I got a lot of new books, a lot of other books. We're gonna have to do a
A book
Good.
pen.
We
The
talked
book
about
can.
that last time. Yeah.
yeah, we'll do that soon as the book can.
Yeah.
dust, must, and mold. Amazing.
Yes. My
That's
grandfather
it.
gave me a
Unironically.
1954 version of War and Peace. It's one of my
Whoa.
prized possessions.
Yeah, I have a
I have a
1927 book on what's it called? Hold on, let me grab it.
You don't even remember?
No, I forget
I
what the
have
English
a-
It must
word
not be
is.
very important to you, Frederick.
I have a 1925 Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde fables and other stories.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Everybody's got the good stuff. Wow, that is.
Oh
a-
my God.
Oh, that looks so
What
good.
was that?
Oh,
Whoa, look
wow.
at that
Oh,
hardcover engraved.
the science of
So-
eugenics.
Is that a
Wow.
family
Yeah,
Bible?
so this
It
is
was
Science of
written by Adolf
Eugenics.
Hitler.
That's like a tome.
Jesus.
Oh, this-
man.
this
Who
is
is
big.
that? Is that written by Margaret
Yeah.
Sanger? Some piece of shit
Uh,
like that?
Copyright 1914 to 1927. This is the 26th printing. This was a
Frederick.
very popular book.
Frederick,
I
would you
can't
say
believe-
you've got good genes?
Oh, I've got great genes, man. I've got these Levi Strauss.
You might as well have held up Mein Kampf.
Oh, I have another. No, I don't. I have one, but in Mein Kampf. In Mein Kampf. So the illustrations are really good in this. Let me see if I can
Oh,
find
man,
them.
you guys are going to make me dig out something. Hold on.
See, major muscles of the body. This is
Is
not
that
one
in
of the
color
best
there? How
ones.
did that get in
Yeah, there's a couple of color pages in
Wow.
here. Sunbath.
colored pages is what I think the eugenics guys would call them.
Wow, Patrick, I didn't know you were.
Sorry, I'm sorry,
So,
Wrangler. Can I make this kind
here's
of joke on your
the
show? I'm so sorry.
Internal structure of female.
We
breast.
tend to be irreverent here.
Okay.
So here we have a picture of a perfect. It literally says a perfect female bosom. So you have a reference. Internal struct. Well, when you're looking for a mother for your children, you want to know what.
Just
you're looking
imagine
for.
like the
But why
actual
is it
like
so
doctor
small?
like coming up to some lady on the street going, "You, might I have a moment to study you? It's about your bosom, you see. You have perfect breasts. Might I be able to take a close inspection? Perhaps a squeeze, maybe a very like close eyeballing."
And here we have the goddess Una, a perfect female pelvis and form throughout. See, these are great
Otter,
references.
you're a little too good at describing that. I'm kind of concerned.
Well, it's
Hey,
his
now I
job.
Like,
kinda wanna read
trust
this
me, it all comes from our freaking Castles and Crusades game. That's it.
Here we have the principal.
I
lines
thought
in
it was
the
something of
hand.
the athletic variety.
Well, that too.
So I got a very interesting creme de la creme comic for you.
Yes.
Other than my, I didn't want to dig it out. I have a signed comic from by Stan Lee, but
Ooh.
I got something
Is it
even
signed
cooler
in
than that.
blood?
No. I do have his the official certificate of authenticity, his Stan Lee hologram sticker on it. So
Nice.
That's cool. Hang on to that.
here, blow me up, Wrangler.
You know, that wasn't really a joke, right? He did sign in blood for a few series of books, due to
No,
some elder
mine is
abuse.
not signed in blood. I have the original Flash versus Superman limited edition $1
Ooh.
comic.
Oh,
That
wow.
looks old.
It is.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this is the
Wow.
original full colored large edition.
Yeah, that's not a small comic book. That's
No, that's
magazine
way-
size, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually bigger than a magazine. It's about the size of 11 and a half. It's one of the rare, because it's the limited edition ones of the old school ones. Yeah, it's a full length book.
Wow.
Very nice.
And what's funny is I found it kind of just sitting in dust in the back of a shop.
Oh, and it was already signed, or did you get it signed yourself?
No, this one wasn't signed. But, I mean, it's in great condition. There's a little bit of water damage where it just was left because it was left in the back of a bookshop. But, nah, this, like I said, it's the original Flash versus Superman comic.
That is
Flash is
Yeah,
faster.
That's a good
You
catch.
gotta admit that's cool.
That is definitely cool. Are you kidding?
See if I can find a date on this thing. It's part of the DC Superstar series.
Yeah, it's got to be a very limited copies out there now. Those old books, people didn't preserve them like the 80s and 90s books. People started to get wise onto the value of comics, and so there's hundreds of thousands of copies of 80s and 90s books. But
But
prior
the
to
90s,
that-
they went overboard, and I think that's where they started tanking their industry somewhat.
well, yeah, that's the beauty
Well,
of like
see, part of the
collecting
problem
90s
with
books.
these-
They're so cheap.
Part of the problem with these older ones, like this one here, it's actually printed on newspaper. Like old school newspaper.
Yeah.
So like the ink and stuff rubs pretty easily off if you're not careful. Like I said, there's a little bit of water spot damage, but not much. And me being me and a Flash geek, I didn't care. Trying to see if I can find a date on this. Sorry, I thought you guys appreciate OGs.
I
For
think
real.
I still have a couple of Hardy Boys books, and I'm pretty sure I have some of the Tom Swift Jr. books, the first Junior.
Okay, here it is.
And my parents
sorry.
have one of the old Tom Swift books. Like I remember like Tom Swift and his motorcycle. And that was when like people were just starting to build motorcycles, and so most people had never heard of them before. And so they were this new magical technology that nobody had seen before.
I've never heard
Okay,
of Tom
so-
Swift, though. Can you enlighten me a little bit?
So Tom Swift was an inventor. He invented things. And I don't remember if he invented the motorcycle within the book series or not, but it was kind of like new things that were just coming out and stuff. And being in the big city, the author knew about these things. And so he'd write about this inventor inventing this new craft or whatever. And then after so many years, he just kind of pushed him to the background because he's writing to young adults, basically. And so Tom Swift's son basically took over, and it became the Tom Swift Jr. series. And so it's the boy becoming a young man and figuring out and having all these adventures and creating all these inventions and stuff.
So he's a fictional inventor within the series, right?
Yeah, it's a fictional inventor, but a lot, especially with the original Tom Swift, later called Tom Swift Sr., a lot of those were actual technologies, but were stuff that had just come out and like not very many people knew about them.
Nice.
Like the motorcycle.
Yeah. Aaron says, I have a 1935 version of My Struggle by some painter.
Just some painter.
Some
Pages
guy.
of color.
You did nothing of real significance in history. No, nothing at all. Especially nothing that would have harmed anyone. No.
Just some rando guy. Here's my I actually was wrong. It's not 1956. It's 1942.
Have a
Whoa.
great night,
wow.
Christy.
Good night,
God
Chrissy.
bless.
War and peace.
Night,
What's
Chris.
that
Nice.
one?
Hey.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Now I have to be very careful with it because it's
Not in perfect shape.
Well, the binding is a little iffy,
Yeah.
you know, but
Yeah.
essentially, and then I do have the dust cover. I took it off so I could show you guys. But it is the dust cover came to me in 2 different pieces. So we've got the front
Oh,
and
okay.
then the
Oh, wow.
back. But
And so, what is that? Is that like? Does it say which edition it is of War and Peace?
it's the 12th edition, at
12th
least of this
edition?
printing. But good God, it's a great book, and also really cool that I get to own that version of it. Lev Tolstoy, his real name is Lev, was a brilliant,
When
brilliant
that
writer.
came out, it was the best of times.
Yeah,
It was the worst of times.
and this I have
don't
the
say.
spectacular.
Oh,
let me
wow.
let me turn my
Ooh,
hold on. Let me turn my blur
Very,
up.
very nice.
turn off the.
I, like
beauty
James,
filter.
have a dirty background,
nice.
so don't look. But Spectacular Spider-Man, when this first came out, it was black
Nice.
and white.
Dude,
Oh,
that's
wow.
is that
Look
square?
at
or
that.
that's-
Yeah, it's
I
like a
love
square,
it.
and it's Steve, so it's just spectacular.
That looks like a magazine size right there.
Oh yeah, it's full on. It's a full
Whoa.
size. So then people liked this so
Oh,
much
that's
One-
cool.
that they came out with
Yeah,
a sequel. This is probably my favorite cover of a comic book that I own
Yeah.
because it has one of my favorite characters on it. I mean, I love Spider-Man,
Oh,
but the Green
wow.
Goblin.
That is
Oh,
nice.
wow.
It's very
Oh, that's
nice.
painted.
I
Green
love the
Goblin.
color.
And this time, baby, it's in.
Oh,
color.
Whoa!
Not bad.
Whoa.
Nice.
Yeah. So
It's cool seeing
read-
that older art style again. Could you just hold that up to the camera, Patrick?
So that's John Romita, right?
Oh, you're right. It is John Romita. I said Ditko, didn't I? You're right. It's John Romita. I read this online first, and I loved it so much, and then ordered it from eBay. That's what I do. I read comics online, and then I go, okay, do I like this enough to own it? And of course, the answer
Oh,
was yes.
that one's an easy one, right? Yeah, that's
And
a no-brainer.
here's Spider-Man tripping balls after Green Goblin hits him with one of his smoke bombs.
That was in the '60s, right? They
Yeah.
went full-on
What's-
psychedelic.
What year
during
is this?
that
Let's see
period.
here. 68, November 68.
Oh yeah, almost
So-
69.
Yeah, I mean these are like the Spider-Man comic books. Like I don't
Yeah.
know, like if you had to have just 2 of them. So I've got those. They're
They don't quite
there
fit
is
in
a-
the long box the same, though, do they?
no, they don't. But there's a slight difference too in size between the 2, as you can see. The second one's a little smaller.
Oh, yeah.
But it's in full color.
So those were like outside the main series, I would imagine, because they're not the same format
Correct.
as. Okay.
Yeah, they were kind of like side stories that they still wrapped into the real, Green Goblin, Spider-Man mythos, but they're not technically part of the Amazing Spider-Man storyline, but they do count, and it's by Stan Lee, so it's also really cool.
No, dude, it's the original artist. Like John Romita picked off right after Ditko, I believe, right?
Yeah,
There was
yeah,
not
he did.
Yeah. So
And
that's very
honestly,
early.
I like Romita's work better than Ditko's work.
Yeah, well,
not
he's
that-
the definitive kind of look to Spider-Man. So
Yeah.
Ditko kind of created it and kicked it off. John Romita did the most impactful style, I think, on the series. Like he had a really long run.
So yeah, I keep them both in this little thingy here.
Beautiful.
Spectacular. But yeah, I was just trying to show. That's only some of the old stuff I have. I've got all kinds of old stuff. I love old stuff.
Oops, let me get my logo off of your face there. Sorry about that.
Oh, can I show you this really quick?
Yeah.
On the inside of War and Peace. God, I gotta be careful here. There's a nice.
It's all blurry. You got to
yeah.
take off your beauty filter.
Patrick.
Let us see the bird in the background.
It's a beautiful map.
Oh, it's like
wow.
all science fiction books, fantasy books. You got to have the map.
Yeah, except this shit went down in real life.
Yeah.
So
right?
where's Mount Doom?
But yeah, this is actually very special to me. It's got the line, by the way, of when the Nazis. It's got a Nazi line on there, so it's more of a modern map for the modern audiences to understand. This happened in '42. This book came out in '42,
Oh,
so it
wow.
has a up to date 1942 Nazi line on there, like how far they got.
So
At
no
that
no
point.
Israel on the map.
Israel, never heard of her.
Aaron says, my boomer dad bought a few 90s gimmick covers. He thought they'd be worth something one day.
I mean, they'll probably be worth something. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, it was such a craze of collecting that you had investors. There was a crash with the baseball cards, and a bunch of investors went into the comic book market just buying boxes and boxes of comics with no intent to read them. Like, it was just mass collecting. And so there's a surplus of a lot of books out there. So you really have to have a rare book for it to be worth something.
And as somebody who dabbles in the rare often, I love like hunting down rare books.
Well, you got like some
There's-
indie stuff that's from that
Oh, yeah.
period. That'll be
Absolutely.
rare. Yeah.
Absolutely. And one thing I found out is that there's what I call true rare and just rare. Rare is like a book that you've heard of, but you're not going to find on store shelves. You got to go looking for it. But chances are you're going to find it. If you got enough money, you're going to find it. It's going to be out there up for sale. Somebody's going to have it pretty much all year round. It's going to be there.
Yeah, well, as they
True
say,
rare
like
book-
X-Men #1 is not really rare. You could find
Yeah.
lots of copies for sale. It's just it's very
Yeah.
expensive.
A true rare book, there's only maybe 5-6 copies available out there, if even that. An
They're
ultra
not
rare
always
book,
on sale, I would imagine.
exactly, stuff like that. So that's why I got kind of caught up for that one book, Ivory Tower. Only 1,000 of them printed, less than a dozen of them on sale. I'm like, it's my blood boiling.
Frederick, did you already ink that Batman one with all the buildings in the background?
Do you want the death of me, right? This is the Jim Lee Batman. So,
I thought you were going to do the
Jiminy
X-Men one
Cricket
after
Batman.
the Batman one.
no, this one's the fun one because I did another one. Which one did I do? I forget. My mind wiped this weekend. I had a good time. No, I wanted to do this fun
Neuralized
one
it.
with the X-Men, but this one is going to be the death of me, man. Look at all these buildings. I'm going to do this kind of a challenge before tackling Rattel #2, because Rattel #2, dude, it's in the sights. Like I'm getting ready to refine the first draft and get working on it. This is kind of like I want to have a couple of city scenes where you do see the massive structure of Montreal. Here we have Gotham City, and you see Jim Lee, who's put a lot of work into the architecture here. And
Yeah.
I kind of want to, get a feel for this standard and try to hit as close as I can to this standard.
Yeah, but I mean, look at that. There's Batman, and everybody knows that awesome advice that Batman loves to give.
I hope you choke on a motherfucking cheese stick, you nasty, greasy bitch. You look like you drink white Gatorade and smell like nickels. Fuck you.
Yeah, you don't want to run into Batman. Batman's a mean SOB.
Nickels.
He's a mean.
I love that skit so much.
Patrick, you never heard that one?
I've never seen that before.
You look like you smell like white Gatorade and nickels. Fuck you. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, James even took that and like songified it, called it White Gatorade and Nickels. Just
Oh, I didn't see that one. So this one's going to involve a lot
Oh
of
my
self-loathing,
I thought you were going to do that, and then when you were done, you were going to do the X-Men one as because you kept calling that the dessert of the
Yeah, but
inking.
I eat dessert before the main course.
Oh.
This is
You're gonna spike your artistic insulin.
And we got a Mark Silvestri Cyber Force here as well. This one's going to be a lot of fun.
With some Kirby Crackle up there for no
Yep.
reason.
Yep, but
there.
it's Kirby Crackle with like with texture inside it. It's not like full black. Well, it's not no reason. It's like
Yeah, I mean, you never go full black. I mean, that would be.
Now I wish I had
Finish that
Oh,
thought.
is that joke too
Thunder
far
clip.
on the show? I gotta watch
Now,
myself.
now I wish I had that Tropic Thunder clip. Never go full
Yeah,
retard.
never go full
That's
retard.
exactly what I was thinking about.
All right, I'm gonna calm down. I'm gonna be more respectful, Wrangler. I'm sorry. I need to.
Why?
See, he didn't go. for
Whoa,
it.
why?
You're going to take our ratings
Because I
down.
said the joke and nobody laughed, and I was like, "Oh shit! I've said the wrong joke at the wrong time."
deadpan silence.
Yeah, it was like no.
The silence is probably all of
Yeah.
us trying to think of a good comeback.
That's the thing. If I stay silent, I'm looking for a joke that's better, and I'm not finding it.
I felt like it was Fallout. It just said up at the top of right corner of my life. Everybody disliked that.
Oh, speaking of Fallout, the trailer to the second season came out this week.
Yawn.
I know.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, you guys are such haters.
No, yeah, I am. Yeah.
I am a hater of Bethesda Fallout post Fallout 3.
Yes. Me too.
Everything Fallout up to New Vegas, just about all of it I adore.
I adore the actress who's doing the
Oh, she is pretty nice.
Actually, now I wish I had my my cursor on this clip when Patrick said that. Say that again, please, Patrick.
Well, I said something like about what Fallout Fallout sucks.
No. Where we all got quiet for a second.
Oh, you all just didn't say a damn thing when I made that joke.
Yeah. Well, do it now.
He's
I
got his
gotta
hand on the
follow up
button
to it.
now. You can do it.
I forgot.
No, you
what the
can't
joke
remember what it was.
It was some kind of racist joke, but I forgot what it was.
Yeah. It was about the Kirby Crackle going full black.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
See, that's how little these jokes mean to me. I just forget them the instant they're done. You guys gotta laugh at the jokes, otherwise I'm like, oh no, what have I done?
Don't you have like?
What
a
if
laugh
I
track?
don't want to laugh at the jokes? Though?
My
Have you ever
self-esteem is
thought about
dependent
that?
on you laughing at my jokes.
My self-esteem depends on me defying the norm. So if you expect me to go one way, I like to say "fuck you." It's so much fun.
Patrick, when I used to actually go through the episodes of Wing It after the live show and break it up into segments, and I'm listening through the whole thing looking for where to clip it, and I can't tell you how many times somebody would say something hilarious and it's just crickets. And I'm sitting there like, why didn't anyone laugh at that? That was hilarious. I didn't even laugh at that.
I laugh at all kinds. I'm always laughing at your guys' jokes, you know?
Yeah, it was like I think one time I was looking for a clip. Billy Bob said something that just while I was looking through, I started laughing hysterically, and I realized none of us laughed during the live thing. Why am I laughing at it now?
We're not allowed to laugh at your jokes, Patrick. It's that simple.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I laugh at them later after the show.
Exactly.
Uppers!
Acceptable. Frederick got to you, didn't he? He told you to make me look like an idiot on this stream, not like I need any help.
I'll be sending you guys the PayPal. Just send me the email, and I'll pay you guys off.
Well, thank you. I've
You
been
mean
really
you mean
waiting
an
for
idiot
that.
like Link from Zelda? That much of an idiot?
What do you guys? I wanted to ask you guys that. What do you guys think about that?
Zelda?
I'm sure you've seen the new snapshots of the movie.
Hey, I'm just happy she doesn't have an Adam's apple like they were hoping.
Yeah. Well, here's
See, that was a funny joke that I laughed at. It was natural.
Patrick. I got a clip from behind the scenes of that movie. Ready?
Ain't no black protagonists in Nintendo games, boy.
No, we've not gotten flagged with this clip.
Oh my god.
Oh no, I'll never be a hero.
This is a reminder that this show is not for kids.
Right? You clicked the
Afro
thing,
Samurai?
YouTube.
That's like one of my all-time favorite Flash Gets videos. 10 out of 10.
No.
That's really funny. I never played Zelda. Everybody makes fun of me or laughs at me.
So
when
funny
that
thing is, I just reinstalled. So I have got a Steam Deck for the longest time.
I
since
never did either.
February, and I
Come
just
on.
installed today the MU Deck, so you can emulate everything on there, like every single system, even the Switch. You
Can
can
you emulate like a
emulate
loving
any-
relationship with a wife and several children who are all?
Yeah, well, you can use Grok for that. But
Oh.
I will
the thing
say
is,
this, though.
today I emulated the Nintendo on there, brought the Legend of Zelda, and it plays perfectly, man. I'm right back where I was as a kid.
I will say this. If you've never played any Legend of Zelda game, there's some really good ones out there.
I've heard.
I can't speak for
Well, I
anything
recommend
past the
Twilight
Super
Princess.
Nintendo.
Twilight Princess is amazing. It drops off a little around the end, but it's still a great game.
It's the only one I've completed, but far from the only one I've played.
So which one is the best one you'd say?
The
Otter?
best.
Oh, that's a tough one. It depends on what you're wanting.
This question's not limited to Otter, like everyone.
I'm
curious.
immediately gonna list out A Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time as two really good candidates.
Link to the
Majora's
Past
Mask
is my
will leave you
favorite.
scarred for life.
Oh, Majora's Mask is amazing. I love that game. But if you're
it'll
going,
leave you scarred for life.
if you're going for the side quests, you will get frustrated. The side quests can get really annoying.
I'll tell you what, Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link was tough as nails by the end.
I've got that one in the system, ready to go.
Yeah, I ended up playing. I ended up beating it, and I was watching some footage of it on YouTube, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh, that area pissed me off. You know?
Frederick, if you want a Zelda game that is creepy, Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess are two very good options. There's parts of Ocarina of Time that are really morbid.
Interesting.
No. If you do not complete it within the time part of Majora's Mask, you're scarred for life.
Oh yeah, the moon falling down right on Link, and it's like a nuclear explosion.
What?
It will destroy
I hate
you.
getting hit in the head with a moon. It's painful.
For me, it's the mask salesman. The dude is creepy, and it does like hard cuts between like his animations just to throw you off. It's so subtle, but it just makes it really unsettling.
Wow. I never played any of those
You
games.
are
They
not
sound
among
lame.
nerds, Patrick.
What about
How
How
Breath of
dare
the
you,
Wild?
Patrick?
Okay.
See, Patrick, this is why you're not cool.
No,
There's lots of
wait.
reasons I'm not cool.
If you think that's lame, just tell me something. What about Metroid?
Otter,
Never
that's the
played
meanest
it.
thing I've ever heard you say.
Look,
I
if you were
I
a cool
love
kid growing
Metroid.
up, you wouldn't have gotten it. You wouldn't have had a Nintendo system. You know what I'm saying?
I love Metroid.
You would have been playing 007 Nightfire, or you would have been playing the original Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 on PS1, or you would have been playing.
But the PS1 didn't exist when I was growing up playing video games. I had an NES,
Sounds like you're consigned to lameness then.
then
I
a
mean,
Super
that's God decided
Nintendo, and a
for you.
Genesis, and then I kind of dropped out because I got a little bit older and had to deal with life for a while.
Yeah, I
No,
stopped
Now that
playing.
I'm
The
much older,
PS1 was my
I
last
play video
console.
games again.
Yeah, PS1
I'm
was
just
my last
joking,
console.
obviously.
Great games on some I'm mixing up words. There were some great games on the PS1. There, I said it right this
I thought you
time.
were an author, Otter.
I am, but I have my not fully retard moments every now and
The
again.
written word and the
Dude.
spoken word are two different things.
I had Spyro the Dragon down that I can beat it 99% in less than 5 hours.
Wow.
Want to know where that 1%
Wow.
was? I can tell you exactly where it was because it traumatized me as a kid because I could never get it. The Misty Bog world, which is like the marsh world, actually there's this one particular area. In order to get this dragon, you had to supercharge up a ramp that had no barriers, glide over at the peak of the supercharge up to another one, supercharge up that to that again, and then glide over to the dragon. I never got that dragon.
Did you ever play Spyro 2? What's it called? Rippo's
Riptar's
Rage.
Riptard's Rage, yeah.
Yeah. I have.
I love the
have
skateboarding
Spyro
segments in
trilogy
that.
for the Switch.
The way you said that, yeah, like that's nothing.
Yeah, I played that one.
The way you said, I played that demo on CTR, Crash Team Racing, and I was
Oh,
like,
nice.
this is awesome. And I never got to play the game, and so like now that I'm an adult and I can like buy things now that I actually want, you know, I went back and bought a bunch of old games that I never had. Like I got the Punisher PS2 game that cost me $100. It's not worth it game wise, but it's cool to have it. You know, it's like okay, I got the Punisher game.
Yeah, you should check out the emulators first and just buy the ones that are good.
No. I'm a purist. I'm a purist in every form of art that I
But you can
engage
test
in.
it.
So when you
on
buy
market
crap,
research.
you want to make sure that it has that original crap.
I
smell.
want it to be in its original crap form. Yeah, exactly. But
Oh,
I
man,
bought Spyro 2 and I haven't finished it because I got hung up on the part where you've got to run around and gosh, what is it? There's like exploding It's like the 4th level. It's like deserty, but there's like bones and skulls everywhere. And then you've got to, what is it you've got to do? You've got to like knock the lizards off the thing or something. But you got to do it. It's like
I know what you're talking
it's like a
about.
timed, you know what I mean? It's like timed.
Yeah,
and I
it's
can't do it.
timed.
But
Ah.
it's a fun game. And it's so cool.
I too am not a fan of time challenges because
I hate time
I
challenges.
usually suck at them.
Yeah, me too. Despise them.
Well, see, the problem is with that supercharged jump in the Misty Bog, the one that I always eluded me, was freaking because of the way have you played the first Spyro game at all?
I've not played. I'm just the second one.
Okay, what? Okay, go back and play the first one. But
Well, wait,
the
Patrick.
problem is when you're supercharged, you don't really have much control. And of course, this was originally made for PlayStation 1, so even on like the Switch remake, you're banking as hard as you can with your joysticks, and it's still not enough to maintain full control.
I remember having a Spyro game on the Game Boy, and it was so awkward to try and control on that thing. It was more like isometric rather than the typical 3D multi-camera angles. So it was really odd because he would move diagonally, but you got the D-pad, but he moves diagonally on the screen. So it took a while to like get used to how he moved.
Mm-hmm. Well, they
Just the
had
fact
a
that they
bunch
put
of
him on
weird
Game Boy is
Spyro
impressive.
shoot-offs.
Skylanders.
Well, not even just Skylanders. So, like, there was one for the Wii where it was like Eternal Night, and then there was one for the GameCube that had Cinder, where you got attached to an evil dragon. There were some weird ones that weren't even that good. I think that's actually probably those offshoots is what killed the Spyro franchise.
Could be. Sometimes that happens. Ironically, Skylanders I do consider a Spyro game because I mean, but he was no longer the headliner after that by the second one. But me and a buddy of mine, we sat down. He played Spyro and I played Stealth Elf, and we just played through to the end, beat the game.
Very nice.
My friends have, now that you guys were mentioning Zelda earlier, 2 of my best friends, they like to do races in certain Zelda games. The last one they did was Majora's Mask. They both really, really love that game. I don't care about the games because I never played them myself, so I've got no stake in it, but I like to watch them talk shit at each other because they're in the same room. You know, they have different setups and they're in the same room. And they like to race each other. And it's really interesting seeing one guy, you know, he takes one route that may or may not save him time, and the other guy takes the other route, and you're like, oh, I wonder how this is going to work out. Like, it's pretty cool.
I really do miss couch co-op. I mean, the connectivity on the internet is awesome because friends who are not in the same state can still play together. Mm-hmm. But there's nothing like having your buddies on the couch and you're all busting each other's nuts while playing and having
and you can actually grab their controller when they're ahead of you and turn it off.
Or just screen peek.
You're screen peeking. It's like you're looking at this. We're all looking at the same screen.
Yeah,
just calm down.
My little brother, we played what is it called? Lord of the Rings Conquest or Middle Earth Conquest. It was essentially Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2, like the original ones.
Yeah.
It was essentially a Lord of the Rings version of that. It's actually a pretty good game.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I had that one.
So there was one.
Speaking of Lord of the Rings, one of them is here.
I beat in your pool! Yay!
Thank you, Legolas.
There was one class in it that could turn invisible, and I turned invisible and was trying to sneak up on my younger brother, and you're invisible. And I came up and I was like about to stab him, and he turns around and kills me. And I'm like, you looked at my screen, and he goes, I saw your shadow. And it's like a joke now between us. Every time, like, I'll come up to him and be like, I saw your shadow every time we do something.
Isn't it the Hobbit who goes invisible?
Well, yeah, but
it's
I mean,
Bilbo and the Hobbit. Yeah.
there's
I mean, in that particular game,
there's
because
a
it's
class.
very much like it basically just cloned Star Wars Battlefront. Like you had classes and everything. One of them was like an assassin with 2 daggers.
Exactly. That was the one that turns invisible.
Yeah,
And he said, "I saw your shadow on the ground."
Though.
And
One
I'm
of them's
like,
a Hobbit. What did the Hobbit do? He threw stones.
Yeah,
And he slipped on the ring.
Weren't the Hobbits the archers?
I can't remember. There were some because they would change according to the
Depending
map
on your
you were
map,
on as
yeah.
well. Yeah, there
If
was
you're
some cool
fighting in the
things. I mean, that
Shire,
game
you
was.
get
I thought that
Hobbit.
game was really, really good. Like it was a fun game, and the Battlefront setting for Lord of the Rings I thought was really cool, and you could get
got to
heroes
fight
and everything.
Minas Tirith.
Yeah, you could be in the Mines of Moria, and one of the heroes you could choose for the villains was literally the Balrog. Like it was a really fun game. Like and I think it's only on 360 though, if I'm not mistaken. 360
game
and
would,
PS4,
Did you
yeah,
guys
I would
ever
say.
play? Did you guys ever play Lord of the Rings: War of the North?
No, I never played
No,
that
but
one.
I've always heard of it.
Nope.
Is that the one with the good and bad thing?
I'll be back.
Yeah. So
Where you-
what's interesting with that one is its play out. It could be a multiplayer couch op. Its play out, it depends on your choices. The only problem was with that game because it was actually really good, like following the different characters because they did what it was unique. They had 3 main characters: a dwarf, a ranger, and an elf, but they were unique to that area. And so it actually kind of complemented the original Lord of the Rings stories without interfering with it, but at the same time, it created its own adventure and its own world. That's what I thought Rings of Power was going to try to do.
That's
No.
what I was hoping they were going to do, but no.
But the only downfall of that game, because like I said, it was really cool, and you learned a lot more about the lore if you weren't reading Tolkien books. So you learn more about the Eagles, you learn more, just different things about it. Was the game was just buggy. The bugs, I think, is why it didn't become more popular than it was.
A Lord of the
Oh
Rings.
wow!
RTS,
Did you see that? The redheaded chick on Otter's screen there, her lips moved in perfect sync with Maji's. It was hilarious.
Oh,
I know the Lord of the Rings RTS game.
wait, redheaded.
Somebody,
Are you talking about her or him or her?
Okay, I thought that was a chick. I don't know that.
Oh yeah, this
No,
is a guy. Though I forgive you, he is kind of a femboy.
It's Japanese video games. They all
Yeah,
look the same.
Final Fantasy is particularly
that.
egregious for it.
Yeah.
What's going on with their hair? I wanted to comment on that. What's
It's
They just
Final
woke up.
Fantasy hairdo, okay? Spiky hair is just the norm.
the little person in the little yellow raincoat looks like that stupid mascot the Catholic Church came up with recently.
The funny thing is,
No, the Catholic Church had a mascot.
I
Yeah,
know
it was called
exactly
Jesus
who you're
Christ.
talking about.
that was our mascot.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Why would they have a different mascot? I'm confused.
They were
Well,
trying to have something that
getting-
was
Without getting too
marketable
heavy,
to kids to get
no,
to
no,
their
no,
interest.
no. That's not what happened. The Catholic Church.
The funny thing though is that the character you're pointing out is actually pretty grounded. It's just her visual design is what the fuck.
I'm so confused.
Now, what were you saying
Wait,
there?
I want to go back to this mascot. What are you talking about?
What were you about to say, Patrick?
I was getting real. I got real serious there. I was telling that the Catholic Church has been infiltrated by Marxists, Freemasons, and other such scummery.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
bro.
You
Did
can
you
see it
see
now
some of the
with the
stuff
current
David
things
Icke
going
pulled up
on.
on them?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, so
That-
look, look. No, I really shouldn't get into this, but I would say that as a Roman Catholic, I wholeheartedly believe that we need to have a brand new Inquisition, a universal Inquisition, not a Spanish Inquisition. At first, I said an American Inquisition, which is probably where we should start. But now I'm thinking we should just go like a universal Inquisition, and I'd be totally down to help out with that if anybody has the funds to make this happen.
Yeah, a bunch of the Protestant churches have had the same problem for a long time.
Mm.
But the good thing is that the liberal branches have been losing massive amount of followers in churches to the more orthodox or evangelical branches.
That's good. But my concern for this, and I'll be honest with you guys, this isn't maybe not the best thing, but my concern isn't so much, like people. I'm concerned about people leaving, but I know why they're leaving. So my concern is to punish those who are the source of the problem. Like, that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in finding out who the degenerates are and weeding them out and then doing whatever's necessary to make it not happen again.
Yeah, so the issue is that the church, for various different reasons, and part of it's because the different, like my parents' church used to be part of a Southern Presbyterian group that got sucked into Presbyterian Church of the USA, which is the very liberal mainstream branch.
Okay.
And so what they did was they broke through a whole lot of law stuff and everything. They were able to break away from that, and they ended up the church ended up going to the evangelical. My mom was hoping that they would go more orthodox, but she's like, whatever.
Well, hey, a step forward is better than a step back. So
yeah, and so I think that's the same with a lot of the people that are leaving those more mainstream churches. Is they're not teaching out of the Bible. I want to go find a place that's actually teaching out of the Bible, and so they leave there and find their ways. And I actually ran into somebody. I was at a new church and was talking with them and stuff, because I had just moved into the area, so I wasn't familiar with I knew the branch or whatever, and so I was like, oh, okay, I'll go there because I'm familiar with PCA, which is a more orthodox one. So I went there and I ended up talking to this guy, and he's like, yeah, that they left the previous church that they've been to, and part of that was because they were not teaching the Bible.
Yeah,
they were teaching politics and stuff, and so they're like, we needed somewhere better for our kids.
Mm-hmm. Well, and some people just warp it. They might teach the Bible, but they'll warp it too to their own modern sensibilities.
That's not the message is not the message.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's like it's interesting hearing all the different church politics. I noticed like the ones that are most susceptible are the more so centralized churches that are part of different groups or have different branches throughout.
Well, yes, but you also that's a knife that cuts both ways. The centralized churches are more susceptible, but at the same time, they're probably closer to the truth than the non-centralized ones. You know what I mean?
Depending, because a lot of them, I'd say, like, a lot of them just agree. Most of it, like, you can kind of tell, in my opinion, which ones are, let's say, are not so close to the truth because they stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
So, but I've noticed that. I've noticed that it's very.
As a Catholic, I've from a lot of, like, all I've received from Protestants for the past at least 2 years has been, "You're a pagan. You should convert to Christianity." That's what I've received.
Is it internet?
That's what I've heard. Yeah, generally speaking.
Oh, there you go.
And I find it, first of all, like, I don't even bother to respond because it's laughable to me. Like, it's beneath me to respond to such a statement. Like, the idea that the Catholic Church isn't, I'm not going to get into that because I'm sure I'm surrounded by Protestants right now. But my point is that like, it's all I receive is hate. And when you look at, like, the way that the average Catholic has responded to the liberalism and the Marxism that has infiltrated the church in the past, at least, people have been noticing it for 10 years now. It's hard for me to, like, understand why people are so hateful towards us. Like, is it perfect? No. And are there lots of people and problems within it? Of course, yes. But you do also have to understand that, like, if you're in a war, the enemy's not going to be striking your weak points. He's going to be striking your strongest points. So when the enemy comes after as hard as he can after the Catholic Church, it's like, well, there's something to be said about that. And that's how I feel about it anyway.
I've been trying to find a larger picture to share, but this is a statue in the Vatican.
Yep. It sure is.
That it just looks demonic as all get out.
Mm-hmm.
And it is.
But don't you understand?
So
that's supposed to be
weird.
Christ returning and all
From
the
a nuclear
souls
bomb.
freeing from hell. Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then why does it look like an alien trying to take over the world with the tendrils or something?
Right.
It's-
Oh,
What
that's
I
just
would
your
say,
imagination.
it is so hideous looking.
What I'll say in
Like-
retort to Patrick is anybody who ever stood for anything and makes themselves known on the internet is going to get nothing but hate first and foremost.
Well,
that's
I'll
fair.
also say this, even as someone who's not a Catholic, I'll also be like, yeah, the Catholic Church has definitely been infiltrated by bad actors, like
Yeah.
without a doubt.
But then to pretend like every other church hasn't been is a little
Oh,
naive.
right.
I
Like
think
it's
the
other
best
churches
way,
as well.
The best way I've heard it placed was actually by Razorfist. We talked about it. People were saying, well, paganism infiltrated the Catholic Church. He said, well, forms of paganism have infiltrated all churches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me personally, in my eyes, there are Christians, and that is it. You may have different denominations. It all comes down to you are Christian, you believe in Christ. We do our best for what we're given. We hope that we're not freaking lied to.
What differentiates do you consider Mormons Christians?
That's an interesting
No.
one because I don't think I know enough about Mormonism to actually come up with that. I know some Mormons call themselves
Even the
Christians.
Mormons are split on that.
They all do. Yeah. Well, I mean,
I've heard people.
when I was growing up, I was told you had to. There's 3 things you have to
Um,
believe to be a Christian.
it's-
1, that Jesus Christ was both God and man. 2, that he died and resurrected from the dead and ascended
Yep.
into heaven. And 3, that God is made up of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And if you believe
Yeah.
those 3
Yes.
things, you're a Christian.
Well, a little more
Rodney.
detail on number 2.
Mormons?
Jesus didn't just die and resurrect
What's up,
because
Mike?
he was without sin and he was sacrificed in that way. He was able to pay the cost for all of our sins.
That's part of. I only say that. That's
you're,
part
you're,
of.
you're doing the
He's
nutshell,
God
yeah.
and man.
Yeah.
So if he's God
Oh,
and
yeah.
man, of course he's without
Maji,
sin.
you were
know what I
saying
mean?
something?
Sorry.
Mormons is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Yes, we have the Book of Mormon, but if you actually read it, it is pretty much what we believe to be the Bible of the Americas. A lot of the South American cultures do speak of a white great spirit. This is what we believe to be when Christ came and visited the Americas after he died. But everything we speak of preaches of Christ. We don't worship Joseph Smith. We don't. All the crazy rumors you hear are not real. Everything
Here,
we
can I ask
speak
you a
of is of
question?
Christ. Yes.
Was Joseph Smith given like golden leaflets?
Yes and no.
What do
So,
you mean?
what it is Christ directed him on where to find them. He found the golden plates buried here in the Americas. That's where the scriptures came from. At least that's what we believe.
Now is
What-
that
what
is
were the
that like the
what were those
quad or
scriptures?
is that from Jehovah's Witnesses?
Hmm?
Is this the quad thing I hear about, or is the quad part of Jehovah's Witnesses?
No, it's the quad.
Okay.
It's the quad. The
What-
quad is Book of Mormon, Bible, New and Old Testament, and then Doctrine and Covenants, which is kind of like our records. Basically, if you're a Catholic, it's basically the LDS version of the Catholics Pope's writings.
There's also a bit of a schism between kind of like there's some factionalism that goes on between sort of like even in Mormonism in its inception between Joseph Smith's camp and what's his name, Brigham,
Brigham
Like-
Young?
yeah, in Salt Lake City. Brigham, correct me if I'm wrong here. Just from my readings, like I was actually reading like Mark Twain talking about it through like firsthand experience, but also readings, is that Brigham, he sounded a little nuts, and he was almost driven out of Salt Lake City, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure on that one.
He like by the end he was claiming that he was a god.
Yeah, that I don't know. Technically, anybody that claims they are a god is wrong.
It's usually a big red flag.
Yeah. No,
So
that's-
what language were these the golden leaflets written in?
I am not sure, to be honest. I don't know.
Was it Jesus Christ himself who told Joseph Smith to go look for them, or like who was it exactly?
I believe it was an angel, but
Ah.
I'm not the most well versed. Jesus, we do believe that Jesus did appear, in the grove with, basically God, but the plates themselves were given by an angel.
And when you mentioned the Great White Spirit that appeared in America, can you expound upon that? I don't know anything about that aspect.
Well, no, that's just if you look up a lot of Native American, especially Native American, that there is oftentimes a great spirit involved.
Well, I know there's the Great Spirit, but are you referencing like at a particular time after
Well,
Jesus?
no, that's not LDS beliefs. That's just what I know of Native American beliefs.
Okay.
Interesting.
I am
So
probably the worst
angel-
person to talk to about religion.
I'm actually just curious what everyone's denomination is, if they don't mind sharing.
I'm probably, like I said, I'm probably the worst person to be asking for this stuff. But
that's okay. I'm very I'm hyper focused on specific aspects of religions. That's why I asked.
No, you're good. It's just like I said. Everybody says Mormons aren't Christian because for some reason somebody's got it in their head that we think Joseph Smith is the savior. No, he is not the savior. That's like calling the Pope the savior. The actual savior is Christ. Everything we do points towards Christ. Everything we believe in.
Are
is
Lucifer
Christ.
and Jesus Christ siblings?
Yes.
Okay.
In our religion, yes.
Yeah, that's a problem. I would say.
Not really, because technically, the Genesis speaks of Lucifer being a fallen angel. First, one
Yes,
of the
Jesus
not
Christ
the
is not an
firstborn
angel.
of God, but
Jesus Christ is not an angel.
no.
Yeah, I think there's
like-
only two that God referred to as his sons, and only one is the begotten, and that's Jesus. The other one he referred to as the son would be Adam.
Right.
But even Adam was not his begotten son.
There's only one begotten
There's
son.
only one begotten son. Satan was never begotten.
So how can they be siblings if he's not is Satan God's
Once again,
son?
I am the worst person to be talking religion with.
That's fair. All right. I'll leave you alone about it.
I have mentioned this. I am
I'm
not
sorry.
a
I'll
scholar.
shut up. I really start getting into straight up autistic religious mode.
I'm interested in this stuff as well, not on like a judgmental or put people on the spot level. I like exploring these as well. There's a lot of interesting nuances to pull from.
Mine is so mixed and roundabout because grade school I went to a Lutheran grade school, and we went to a Bible school or a Bible church that was actually split off from a Baptist church because the pastor was preaching politics, and a couple of the elders took a portion of the church and went off, and they said, we will start this, because part of it was a family church. It was an old family church, and so there's a lot of people there that had family that had been going there for generations. And so they said, we are going to have this for 10 years, and at the end of the 10 years, you should find another church to go to. And so they had the church there for 10 years, and then at the end of that, they broke apart. And then that was about the time that I was getting into junior high. And I don't know what specific denomination the junior high school that I went to was, but for church, we ended up going to a Presbyterian church, the one that I was referring to earlier. So I'd probably say I'm somewhere between Lutheran and Presbyterian, which are pretty close.
I was raised Baptist, and as an adult, I completely backed away. You know, they talk about falling away. Well, I fell away hard. I ended up going full pagan, and after a while and after losing my mind, I came back to Christianity. I do refer to myself as a Baptist again, although the church I currently go to is a Methodist.
Yeah, personally, I'm a Baptist, but I also frequently go to churches of different denominations. Like, I don't know, I'm not that strict. I'm not that strong about it, really. Like, I wouldn't say I've kind of like fallen away quite as much as Wrangler has, but it's something where I'm actually kind of like falling into going to church again. So it's still like too early for me to say, honestly.
And as I said last week on Royce's Discord, when they were discussing Catholicism, I am so ignorant of Catholicism. I thought Maccabees was a sports bar.
Remember, I had to ask why there were so many saint days because I didn't understand them.
Yeah, Maccabees 1 and 2 are there's mixed opinions on them. I think that maybe having them separate from the Bible is probably a good thing, but there is knowledge there that I think that we need to read and be aware of.
Now, are you guys aware of Jesus appearing in the Old Testament?
References.
There are a couple times in the Old Testament where it says, and a lot of times it'll say an angel of the Lord, but there are a few times where it said the angel of the Lord and it was capitalized. That was pre-incarnate Jesus, or a lot of us believe that to be. For example, Balaam and the donkey, if you guys are familiar with that story, Balaam was a prophet. He was a prophet of God, but he kind of started following his own interests instead. And when he was going the wrong way, the donkey stopped, and Balaam started beating his donkey, like, why are you not cooperating? Then it just started going, and then it stopped again because the donkey was seeing the angel of the Lord there, but Balaam could not. And when this time when he popped up, the donkey like turned aside and crunched Balaam's foot against a wall, and Balaam started beating on the donkey again. So the Lord opened the donkey's mouth, allowing the donkey to speak, and the donkey actually asked Balaam, "Why are you beating me when I've served you all these years?" And Balaam started talking back to it like it was normal. And then finally, God opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord there. And the angel of the Lord said, "The donkey knows its place. Why don't you? If the donkey didn't stop, I would have cut you down before you passed this point." But there's a couple points in the Old Testament where it said the angel of the Lord, and many believe that to be the pre-incarnate Christ.
I think Elijah too saw him. Or not Elijah, Isaiah. Wrong one.
I believe he's also mentioned in the book of Enoch.
Yeah. Now, in the book of Enoch, that's obviously not canon to the Bible. A lot of folks think the reason that Enoch is not in the Bible is because there was nothing in Enoch that had any reference to the coming of Christ at all. Because throughout the entire Bible, all the things that happened were very much symbolic of a Savior coming one day. Like with, was it Abraham and Isaac when he was commanded to go sacrifice his son, but then the angel stopped him and provided a ram and all that. But when the Hebrews were going in the desert, they were given a very particular way to organize, where they would pick up, move, and sit back down. They'd all sit down in the same order. If you were standing in the mountain looking down at the plain where they were all camped out, the whole encampment was in the shape of a giant cross. And it's pretty much everything through the Bible had symbolic meaning of the coming of Christ someday. But in Enoch, you have none of that. So it's like the Bible is about Christ. Why have Enoch in there? And then whether the accuracy of Enoch is also hotly contested and debated.
Not
But
only that,
it is very interesting when we want to go lore digging.
There's some of the books chosen and some of the books left out were also basically, you said, accuracy. There's a chain of authority for each book, and they did not want to add a book that was over 100 years past Jesus. So there were certain books left out there, and certain books left out because there was no chain of authority. I had no idea where they came from.
Although Enoch was in some of the canon books of the Bible as well. I believe he's one of the very few who were brought up to heaven instead of dying.
And wasn't the book of Enoch also in the Dead Sea Scrolls?
Yes.
Yes.
before that, people were very unsure if it was actually canonical, because I think they only found found versions of it written in Greek, and it wasn't until I want to say the Ethiopian church, I think, was the only official church that actually had a copy of it, but it was not in like Hebrew, and so people just thought, oh well, it's it's not really a book of the Bible. It's just made up or something. And then whenever they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, they cross-referenced that with the book, with the Ethiopian church's version, and the Greek references that they had, and they found that most of them all matched. But there were some verses that, like, only one had, or like one of the Greek copies in the Ethiopian church's version of it had, but not the other Greek, or maybe only one of those three had it, but the Red Sea Scrolls did not. And so there, at least the copy that I had that I read through, it would go through, and like whenever it was split, it would say the Greek version reads this way, the Ethiopian church reads this way, and then there are some references where it's like, this is these are known verses from certain versions, but they're not they're not agreed upon via the other references.
I love those study Bibles where they got all the different, especially if you have it on ebook, you got all the hyperlinks in there and you could tap on it and brings you to it and you can read the different stuff and the different takes and context. I just think we are so lucky to be living in the information age and have all that at our fingertips when you want to dig in.
Oh yeah, no, it's awesome having even like if you're having a bad day at work, you just
right
pull
back.
out your phone and have the Bible on your app. It's amazing.
Yeah, I have the chronological Bible. At first, I grabbed the King James version, but the archaic form of Shakespearean speaking in that translation really doesn't jive well with how my brain works. So I got the New King James version, and what's nice is it got all segmented up and put into the chronological order, so you could read it almost in a novelized format. And it is so nice for being able to follow and understand. I really like the chronological Bible.
I reference the ESV the most, but because I did grow up on the King James version and the NIV, I also have those, and I think those are the most the two closest to the original. Like one of them I think tries to remain more thematic, and the other one tries to remain more close to the language. I could be wrong on that, but I think ESV gets it a little bit closer to that. But I tend to reference all three if I'm really trying to figure something out.
I really just reference to the King James Bible. I actually think the quality of its writing is really understated.
Perhaps so, but it's also tough to comprehend because the language has changed. The English language has changed so much over the years.
I'm going to disagree with that. It's actually simpler reading than Mark Twain, believe it or not.
I don't know. I read through it and I'm like, huh? But when I read the New King James version, where the vernacular is a little bit more closer to the modern English, it is so much easier to comprehend. But
me,
again, it has those nice hyperlinks in there saying this version says that. And they include Septuagint as well, which is
where
really nice.
I fall away from the New King James is there's a surprising amount that's similar to the classic King James, but the wording is reworded in a way that is almost dangerous. In a way, it changes the connotation of a lot of words and phrases.
Yeah,
that is always a danger with new translations and everything. But so long as the core, the gospel of Christ, is kept intact, that is the important part right there. But Patrick, you're back just in time. We were talking about the Book of Enoch for a minute, and that kind of ties back into the topic we meant to be covering tonight.
Yeah. For the record, by the way, Young's Little Translation is what I go by.
I'm not even familiar with that one. Fu Man Blue, what's up, man?
Hey, Fu Man Blue.
I think
Good to see ya.
I think the one I'm really biased against is NLT. That one reads like a high schooler's translation of the Holy Scripture.
Oh, really? Oh, I don't know if he's still doing it, but Mike S. Miller, he was doing he was doing live streams every day called Cross Examinations, where he'd read part of the Bible, and then one day he was the conversation between Moses and Pharaoh, just for fun. He typed into Grok, asking Grok to tell what go retranslate that section of the Bible into modern day Gen Z speak, and Moses saying, Pharaoh,
Oh,
we got to
no.
go out to the desert so we can worship our Lord. No cap. We were just laughing hysterically. It was the funniest thing. Of course, he read the actual version first and then typed it in just to see what would happen. Read it
Omer
live on
glitch.
air. I'm pretty sure the entire audience was laughing hysterically.
Hey, Omer Glitch. Omer Glitch
Omer!
has joined us in the chat.
Hey, Omar, how
What's
you
up, Omar?
doing? Let me know if you want the link, Omar. I'll send it off to you.
Hey,
I'm,
Homer.
I'm surprised it doesn't go. Oh, he's not in the Discord, is he?
I think he is. I don't know if he's frequents it though.
Hey, doggy.
Link's always in the Discord too.
Your pooch is so cool, James.
Yes, come on up here, boy. Oh, the crowd wants to say hi. This is Buddy. He's my stalker. Interesting thing about French bulldogs, they stalk their owners. They want to play only with their owners, hang out with their owners. If you're not in the room, they want to be in the room with you. You're in the bathroom, they're wondering why you won't let them in. These dogs will wait outside for you at all times. You'll think they'll be lost in the field somewhere. No, you go inside, they'll be right behind you. These dogs love their owners to death. It's ridiculous. Oh, and they're constantly hungry. They'll eat everything. These dogs eat everything.
Sounds like my cat.
Yeah, your cat a stalker too, or just eats everything?
He eats everything, and he's like super. Like he behaves like a dog. Like he's like a little puppy. Like literally very different from other cats. He's a Rex, a Cornish Rex, and it's very different personality than other cats. I mean, he'll meow constantly. Like it gets on everybody's nerves. Like even my nerves sometimes.
Who is this roguish figure who has joined us?
Swoosh. Sorry, I had a
one guy.
moth. I had to release him back to the sweet eternal creator. Is done.
Who is this fellow?
Hello, you, sir. I don't know.
Luvapor, meet Patrick. Patrick, Luvapor.
Hello, Luvapor.
Hello, Patrick. How are you?
I am chilling, dude. I'm just a weird dude that people sometimes invite on their show. Yeah, so
Still sound a little hoarse there. Is your throat feeling better?
Yeah, well, I mean, mostly, but obviously it's not great.
Yeah. I remember one time I got bronchitis, and it took me like 3 or 4 months for the rasp to come out of my voice after that. It was unreal. I was like, hopefully that doesn't happen to you, but that was like back in 2001. I was talking like this for like 3 months.
I remember chocolate. I hated it.
I sounded like Marge Simpson's sisters.
I mean, there are certain voices I can do better when my throat's fucked up.
You honestly sound super cool with your throat being fucked up. I mean,
Well, thank you.
yeah.
I think.
Got a radio thing going on.
Let's see.
Yeah.
So, heroes, you've made it to my inner sanctum at last.
Hey, I need to ask you guys a question before Wrangler brings us back to Giants, which is a subject I always want to talk about, but kind of don't because I don't want to give away any of my story.
I'm not sure he was going to turn it back to Giants, but go ahead.
Okay, I mentioned this before we went live. Rogue Trader. You guys played that game?
I played a little bit of it. I've really enjoyed what I played.
I've heard of it.
That sounds familiar.
That's a
It's
turn-based one,
Warhammer.
right?
I
Yeah,
have
I'll
not.
tell you this much. I bought Baldur's Gate, was it 3?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Started playing it. I maybe did, I'd say no, not even 16. Probably more like 8 hours, 12 hours. And then I was like, and I gave up. Not that I gave up because it was hard, because I was just like, this is not my. It's not. I don't like it.
I'll say this: Larian has never been the best at writing. I'll stand by that both with Baldur's
Yeah.
Gate 3 and their Divinity games. They've never been the best at writing.
It's just very You know what? Like you know when you're watching something and you're like, oh, this is like the liberal version of something. And I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I'm just saying like that's what it seemed to like. It seemed to me to be like the liberal version of fantasy. And then I
It's
started
5th edition fantasy. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
And I also was turned off because I don't like turn-based combat. I hate it.
No.
But I've played at least 12 hours, at least 12 to 14 hours of Rogue Trader so far. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Like I can't, like it's so good.
There you go.
And it's turn-based, but you kill somebody and like my guy's a sniper with a las gun. So like when I kill somebody, they get incinerated. Like they literally get incinerated, and I'm like, yeah, let's go. Let's
Will
keep
that
going.
take down?
This is
Will that take
awesome.
down the giants from Attack on Titan?
A las gun? Yeah, dude. Anything like a regular Astra Militarum dude in 40K would take down a Titan from Attack on Titan.
Well, I got stuff that'll take down people from 40K.
Oh, you do, huh?
Space laser.
Actually, you seem to be a bit into 40K. Are you a fan of the show Stargate? By any chance?
I love Stargate.
Okay. Here's my thesis. The replicators in Stargate can not only hold their own in the 40K universe, but they can wipe out most other factions.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, you're right.
Stargate Universe, best
Good.
series, right?
Yeah. Well, not the best
I thought
series, but my
SG-1
favorite.
Personally,
I'm-
SG-1's my favorite.
I'm joking. Obviously,
Okay.
SG-1 and Atlantis are
Universe? I
Atlantis is really
rewatched.
good too. I thought I wasn't gonna like Atlantis because I
SG-1.
didn't like what's his name, the scientist guy.
Daniel Jackson.
No,
Jack.
Rodney.
McKay.
Rodney, yeah, Rodney
Rodney
McKay. I thought I was gonna hate him because of the way he appeared in SG-1.
Yeah.
But I watched Atlantis and I was like, Rodney's the reason I'm watching this show now.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm
love
gonna say
when
this,
Funny how
shows
that
do
works.
when they take a character you don't like and they make you like him. Like it's so
Yeah.
cool. When
I'm
people
gonna
do
say this.
that.
Also,
Stargate Universe. I
Jason
rewatched.
Momoa was
I-
dope in Atlantis.
Jason Momoa was also
Yeah.
really good. Yeah.
I rewatched Stargate Universe last year, and frankly, I'm saying it. I like the show. The
Look,
season 2, season 1 is a fumble, but then it starts picking up towards the end. Season 2 is classic Stargate
But, yeah,
all the way through.
I have to say,
Stargate Universe isn't bad. It's just that at the time it was such a departure from the style of the first
Yeah.
two series, and it was pretty obvious that they were chasing that Battlestar Galactica reboot vibe.
oh gosh,
Yeah, it like really borrowed from Battlestar that first season.
there was some
Yeah.
nice, fun setups like the Beam Me Up, Scotty, which
Mhm.
was just absolutely great, and the whole thing with the kid and like trying to get the kid to go on the trip and stuff, and then suddenly he's beamed up on the ship and he's like, "Okay, I'm in."
Yes. There are parts I liked, parts I hated. Like I said, the first half of the first season, it was a little boring. Not a lot happened. Most of the characters you couldn't really like. A lot of them you didn't like, and for some reason, they had this one Asian character. I forget her name. But her literal role was being the head of HR. She was HR, and they tried to make her a main character. They tried to make her like a faction-based main character, and it just didn't work with her. Her entire character, I think, should have been left out of the show.
You know what show's better than all of the Stargate shows though? And this
What's
is
that?
it's Farscape.
Yes,
Still haven't
and
seen it.
I
Oh, no, wait, I seen the
did
first
you like
season.
the Farscape reference in SG1?
I loved it, dude.
Yes.
And the fact that Ben
And-
Browder showed up and was the
Crane
last
got
to be
stuck
replaced
playing
him.
Rigel.
Yes.
You're
Dude,
right. I've never heard of that show before. Let's do it. No.
Farscape is one of the greatest shows that has ever graced
Oh, I love it.
television,
I
ever.
Yeah.
I will disagree that Farscape is better than SG-1. I will agree that it is awesome and different.
It is.
Crichton is like one of my favorite sci-fi characters. Actually,
Yes.
just as a
yeah.
personality, he was
Josh
just
Crichton.
awesome.
I will say that
Orpheus.
Stargate is probably
Yeah.
the most. Stargate is the most realistic, as in, what will happen if the military got their hands on a
Yes.
on a portal that led you throughout the
100%.
universe?
And
Weapon-
Stargate is more realistic in actual reality of how things are in real life. I at this point, like, I started my conspiracy theory track.
Yeah.
Actually, this will wrap right perfectly back into the subject for tonight. So
Nice.
Wrangler, may I go on a rant?
Go for it.
Okay, so back in 2018, June of 2018, I was working for the YMCA, and I had back then I had a Yahoo email because I was a loser, and on Yahoo
I
News,
still got
which
a Yahoo.
you guys if you've been on Yahoo News though, like the news thing, you can look at it, you'll know like most of it's just straight up bullshit, and I knew that too. I logged into my email when I was working at the YMCA, and I saw this Yahoo News article about, oh, these giant's bones were taken by the Smithsonian and burned. And I was like, I looked at it and I was like, all right, I'll bite, like, it's all right. What harm can come from this? So I read it and I was like, yeah, it's a whole load of bullshit. And then, but because of that, for some reason, there was this, like, the spirit stirred in me and was like, you need to look into like UFOs and stuff. So I got, for no reason whatsoever, super interested in UFOs and aliens and that kind of thing. And is this real? Is it not real? And I read a ton of books, which I'm excited one day, James, when we do our whole book show-off show, because I've got a shit ton of books I think none of you guys have ever heard of that are really, really cool. So I read a whole bunch of stuff, and I came to the conclusion intellectually that aliens are 100% real and UFOs have been seen by people. I'm not one of those people. Let me put it like this. We base everything in our lives off of what's real, and then we base what's real off of what we have evidence for. And evidence is this very curious thing, because evidence can sometimes, like in a court of law, my father's a lawyer, so I understand this stuff very intimately. Evidence can sometimes apply to testimony, just straight up somebody just saying, oh, this is what happened. And it'll be applicable, and it will be lawfully applicable to certain subjects. I found that fascinating that we consider that, testimony in a court of law to be reasonable. But within every other context in our society, we do not consider it to be reasonable. So what that means is that all religions, which are exclusively based off of testimony, somebody saying, this is what I saw, this is what happened, and that I wrote it down so you can view it and talk about it and think about it, that's not considered to be real in our current modern day society, which is obsessed with empirical materialism. If it's not material, then it's not real, which first of all is a ridiculous statement to make, that if you can't physically or see something or measure it, that it's not real. There's a million things we couldn't measure radiation 200 years ago. Does that mean that radiation wasn't real the whole time until we suddenly found out how to measure it? Of course not. What a ridiculous statement that is. So the capabilities of humans to measure things is not like that great. And so there's a million things we can't measure that we then assume are fake and not real because we can't measure them. So already we've got a flaw in our current understanding of the modern way of thinking. Oh, we've got to have evidence, and we've got to do experiments, and we've got to have them easily replicatable by people. This is how science works. But it's based upon a faulty premise that you can measure everything and that we have the means to measure everything right now. Already faulty premises. So from there, I'm studying all this shit. I'm like, okay, so aliens are real. Oh shit, because it's all this testimony. There's a million probably actually 1 million testimonies of
Have you
people saying
seen the congressional hearings?
the congressional, all the stuff that happens in the government is straight up bullshit, and it exists because let's not. I'll get into that in a second.
Thank you.
I 100% will. So I'm now at this point struggling with the idea that aliens are real and that Jesus Christ and my religion that I've grown up in my entire life is real or not real. Like, what's real? I don't know what's real anymore. So I beg God. I'm like, God, please give me wisdom, because I know that God is very pleased. Like, if there's one thing God is pleased by when you ask him for it, it's wisdom. So I said, all right, God, please give me wisdom in this matter. Let me know if this alien stuff is real or not. And not but 2 months later, at the time I was the manager over a how do I put it? A childhood education center. Like, it was a preschool, essentially, a preschool daycare center. I was in childhood psychology, and then in essentially child care for the first, I would say, half of my professional career as a person. And so I took, this on that particular day, one of my coworkers, it was in the inner city. So you can imagine how the employees were. And they just fucking didn't show up when they didn't feel like it. That's just kind of how it worked there. And I didn't have any power. I was the manager, but I really didn't have any power whatsoever to make decisions about who's getting fired or whatever for this, that, or the other. Anyway, one of these chronically never showing up / late employees was just like, I'm not going to be there today. Which, if you understand how childcare works, you have to, by law, have a ratio of childcare professionals to children. There's a very specific ratio that you have to have at any given moment if you're going to be running a childcare center.
So like 4 to 1, I think.
No. That's more like
Daycare.
That's like very young child, like up to 2 years old level. That is, you do have to. That is the ratio for when it's that age range. But once you get to preschool, we started taking kids at about 5. So once you get to preschool, it can be 8 to 1, or it can then once they get to be I think it's 9 or 10. It's been a while, so I've forgotten. But 9 or 10 years old is when you can go 16 to 1, which is okay. Anyway, the point is that she didn't show up, so I had to stay there by law. I had to stay at work. I got there at 7 in the morning, and at about 5 p.m. the kids are like, it was a 24-hour daycare, so the kids were like, they need food and they need to have dinner. So I made dinner for them. I was cleaning up, I was taking the trash out, and it was a big old trash bag, and I had it slung around my shoulder, and I went out to the back of the building to throw it in the dumpster. And at that exact moment, as I threw it in the dumpster, there was a voice, there was something that said to me, turn around, look up. So I did. I turned around and looked up, and lo and behold, there was a black triangle. And the black triangle was approximately, I would say, maybe a mile away from me, maybe a mile and a half. It was 30 meters on either side. So, it was a perfect triangle. So on either side, it was a 30 meter. And maybe 6 meters at best thickness.
Yeah.
That gives you an idea. A black triangle with kind of pale greenish yellowish lights on each corner. So at that point, when you're looking at something like this in real life, I don't know if you guys have ever had an experience with a UFO or something crazy like this, but it takes your breath away, and you don't have any, there's nothing you can do to normalize it to your brain to go, all right, I can just look away now. So I'm staring at this thing, and then I start looking around, like, is anybody else here? Can anybody else see this with me? And then it starts lazily floating down like a leaf almost. And I'm like, oh, well, at this point, like I said, I've done a lot of research into UFOs. So I know what kinds of things actual technology can do, what kinds of maneuvers they can make. And I'm like, that's not something it can do. And then it started flying overhead of me, going very slowly and lazily. And I thought to myself, I was like, well, it'd be crazy if like a plane came by and it flew in parallel with the plane, because that's something I've heard of a lot of times. And lo and behold, I mean, I was right next to it. The airport in St. Louis is pretty much right there. And an airplane was coming by like this. Well, if you're me, look, like if you pretend you're me and the airplane's coming this way and the UFO's going like this and the UFO goes and starts following the plane perfectly parallel. It does that instant flip around. And at that point, I'm like, okay, I know exactly what I'm looking at. And then eventually it flew off into the clouds, which were pretty thick, I would say, that day. But St. Louis always has thick clouds because they seed our airspace every day, which I suspect is because of the Boeing factory that we have right there. But at that point, once you've seen something that the government and that every expert has told you is fake and stupid and gay and not real, but you've seen it with your own eyes, you go, okay, so these people are fucking liars. Like, that's what this is. Like, they're fucking liars, because I've seen it with my own eyes. Yeah. And I can tell you that experience of viewing that object with my own eyes is more real to me right now than when I go over to my parents' house and look at my parents.
Wow.
I don't know how else to describe it to people, but I know exactly what I saw. And I know that what I saw was not a hallucination. I was 100% stone cold sober. So to me, that says it is an indicator of a couple of things. One, that the phenomenon is real, and two, that our government is completely and utterly full of shit when it comes to this subject. Yeah. And therefore, because this is the most important subject in existence on the planet, they're completely full of shit on everything else. And so that was the day that I became an extremist.
I do think aliens are real, but I think they're different than what most people are. My personal opinion, I think that a lot of them are fallen angels. I think there's life on other worlds out there? Sure, but I don't think they're getting here. Not before. I don't think we'll see them till after the millennium.
I'll agree with you. Intelligent life? I don't know.
That you're at, Wrangler. I agree with you now, but back then I was like, aliens are real, and I kind of freaked out and I kind of embarrassed myself to my family. But upon reading the Book of Enoch and going back and reading Genesis 6 and reading other things in regards to that subject, the Passport to Magonia by Jacques Vallée, who's a French statistician, if you read that book and you read the Book of Enoch, and then you read whatever, any kind of UFO stories about stuff, you will quickly come to realize that the UFO phenomenon is completely, it is based in history, and that it is the same phenomenon as the religious phenomenon. And so at that point, that's when I started to get to where you're at, Wrangler, and that's where I am now. But back then I was a lot more, the aliens and stuff. But
how old are you, Patrick?
32.
So you got to that point a lot quicker than I did. It took me a lot longer to figure that out. So you're doing better than me.
So
assuming we're correct.
Patrick, this year there were congressional hearings where they discuss UAPs, and there's video footage of I think Navy planes tracking a UAP, and they fire on it, and bits come off of it.
Yes.
But the bits maintain trajectory and velocity with the main body and then reintegrate themselves. And this is on video. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've seen the hearing, but if you want, I can.
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen not the hearing, but I've seen that particular video you're talking about.
That was crazy.
What I would say is that the United States government routinely does this horse and pony act where they say, we're going to, give you the goods on the UFOs. They release a video or two, it garners some interest, and then the whole subject is dropped. This is part of the drip feed propaganda thing that the global world government is doing to people. They deliver things to you to frame the subject and the phenomenon in a particular light so that you believe the next thing they're going to say, because they're like, well, we told you the truth, didn't we? We're showing you the truth. But that's not the truth. Deep down, the truth truly is that the Bible is a historical document, and that the things referenced in the Bible, like the sons of God and the Nephilim, are historically accurate to our history as the human species. And that's the one thing that our government does not want you to think. So they're going to frame it as UFOs and aliens.
They want you to believe anything other than the Bible.
Correct. Exactly.
Like Fu Man Blue was saying, saw aliens and had no word for them, so they called them angels. Well, one of the things is that the Bible and a lot of other ancient texts talk of dragons, but in the modern day we have dinosaur, and they're like, well, why don't in the ancient texts they talk about dinosaurs? Well, because dinosaur was a new word that was made up to basically there's some overlap. There's not complete overlap, but certain large dinosaurs actually match things for dragons.
Well, I was about to say there's a wide variety of draconic anatomies in our various myths across the worlds, and well, dinosaurs have a lot of variety in anatomy.
Yes.
And another factor is we get the anatomy for dinosaurs wrong all the time.
Yeah, we do. But dinosaurs themselves, I believe in the Bible, they were referred to as behemoth.
So here's a theory for you guys that I haven't really, I haven't done too much research on it because I'm so busy with other things right now. But like, I've come to the conclusion, or the theory rather, that dinosaur bones are Nephilim bones.
Go on.
There was a variety of sides to them. There was a variety of sides to them too, though, because I think as far as I think all giants were Nephilim, but not all Nephilim were necessarily giants. Some of them might have just been very powerful, and that's where we get myths of like Hercules and stuff like that.
Yes,
it's just a theory I have in my head.
No,
but Fu Man Blue says that's how alien ships got the name flying saucer, because the first report of them used words that he could relate to others.
Precisely.
And that's a continuation of his previous post about what if people saw aliens and had no word for them, so they called them angels.
So there's certain structures in India that if you look at them, they're like people inside of little spaceships.
Mm-hmm. That's also in South America as well.
Yeah, and they're ancient structures. They're not like modern things, and it's very fascinating. And I remember, I don't remember where it's at, but there's some like ancient wall design or something, and there's something that looks like an astronaut carved into it, and these are like carvings from like thousands of years ago.
Mm-hmm. I have a picture of a bas relief of that exact thing that you're talking about. But so
it's pronounced bas-relief, Patrick.
Okay, yeah.
Right. Frederick, I forgot you were here. Actually,
I'm just here to point out the wrong pronunciations of French words.
Exactly.
So I'm back on playing that game where I was the psychic pig.
Oh yeah, the psychic pig.
I have unlocked a new class. I am now a martial arts rabbit.
You'll have to give us a detailed update on tomorrow's show.
Fu Man Blue says, so a T-Rex was half man, half watcher? Fu Man Blue, I have literally for the past half year been typing into Grok, draw me a picture of a giant human person with a T-Rex head. Because I want to see what
and you get Triceracop.
Well, this is my thing, is that everybody said that the Nephilim were terrifying to behold. And I'm like, okay, well, a tall dude is like,
I'm sure some of them probably were ugly,
but not like, it's not terrifying. And then I started thinking about Cyclopses, and I'm like, well, that'd be kind of terrifying to behold. And then I thought, what if a Nephilim human person, you know what I mean, like human body shape or whatever, but he's like 40 feet tall, had a T-Rex head? Like, that'd be horrifying. That'd be the worst thing.
Yeah, that would.
Like,
so, but don't worry. He can't do nothing because his arms are too short to reach you.
But see, what if they weren't? What if they had T-Rex heads, but like regular-sized arms? That'd be terrifying.
That would be terrifying.
And it also brings
however,
in
contrast,
Go ahead. Sorry.
In contrast, I do think dinosaurs were real. I don't think they were from millions of years ago. I think they were far more recent. And I do think there's also some merit to what you're saying. Like not some of the dinosaur things we see were not really dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But I do think they were there. I think they were mostly wiped out from the flood, and the few that were like maybe either eggs or young hatchlings on the ark. After the flood, the environment changed. I think gravity is different. That's why they ended up dying out, because they have found fossilized footprints of man and dinosaur side by side.
Yeah.
And also, I think that this is just another theory. I think the pre-flood giants were probably a lot bigger than Goliath.
Oh yeah.
Goliath was you said around 13 feet. I think I might have calculated around 9 feet, but maybe I could be wrong.
So
I do get a lot of things wrong.
I could be wrong
There's
too.
two
But I
distances
think gravity
for-
changed, and so even though the giants were wiped out by the flood, they could have come back. The Nephilim could have come back through the line of Ham, because he was a descendant of some of them.
Well, it's
So
what was the
you get the
measurement
right
unit?
genetic combination, and they could make a comeback, but they wouldn't be as large as pre-flood giants.
What was the measurement unit that they give for him?
Cubits.
There are two different distances for that, depending upon which one you're using. So I think one of them calculates out to somewhere like about 9 feet, and the other one comes out to somewhere around 13 or 14, I think.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I think maybe I took one of those versions and Wrangler took the other.
I know I use cubits as units of measurement in Steel and Stormbright. Or at least in that case, it's really just used as a measurement of like 1.5 feet. But yeah. So aside from that,
here's an idea though for you guys to consider. We talk about Satan as being the serpent, in the Garden of Eden.
Yep.
And then you look at, because what I do with things, when I try to figure out what's real and what's not, I don't go, okay, what's in the Bible? That's the only thing that's real. I do look at the Bible as like the end all be all, but I think that's why when it comes to this subject of Nephilim and giants, the Bible is so terse on it. It doesn't say anything pretty much. It says very little about that subject. And you look at every other culture and group across society, with very few exceptions, understands that the gods came from the heavens and that they were giant, and that's like being big. The very concept of giantism wouldn't have occurred to humanity ever unless it had been something we've experienced in our past.
Yeah.
I 100% believe that no idea exists in the human consciousness that hasn't already been in reality, that we can take and then find some way to, extrapolate upon. What if dinosaurs and the Nephilim are the same thing in the sense that some of the original watchers, the angels who had sex with human women, had more reptilian characteristics that they then passed on to their children, therefore making various different versions of what we call dinosaurs and various different versions of Nephilim who had lizard-like or reptilian qualities.
Yeah, because the dinosaurs were not so much discovered as they were created. Like I remember when learning about dinosaurs at school, is they came out with hundreds and hundreds of types of dinosaurs, and some were so ridiculous and silly,
right,
that they dropped like 90% and kind of like went to a consensus. Okay, we're going to keep these 5 or these however many. And to me, it seems absurd believing that this is an actual factual thing when it all came out of this creative spontaneity of creating stuff from. And we had like, where are the actual dinosaur bones? Like in all museums, it's chicken bones, it's plaster, it's all reproduction. I have a hard time swallowing this as scientific proof.
Right, and that bleeds
that's
into
because it's so
the
large.
concept of not respecting and not believing the authorities. The authorities. That's my biggest thing as a person. Like, the authorities aren't. They are
the
not.
root word of
And-
authorities
and-
is author, and it's go back
Right.
to writers, and who trusts writers?
Right.
It's like I'm
Right.
much more an artist guy.
It's
personally.
but that also bleeds back into the reality of our existence itself. I think that reality itself is defined by consciousness and defined by belief and defined by the will to perform actions. So some things are real because people willed them to be real, and some things are not. And the idea that dinosaurs is this entirely it's dinosaurs is on the same level as evolution to me at this point in my life, where both of them have very little evidence to support the claim. It's a lot of conjecture, a whole lot of conjecture, plus a whole lot of mathematical models that happen to just so happen to agree with your opinion on the subject.
And on top of that, when it comes to the science in it, carbon dating has been proven to be such
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
carbon
inaccurate.
dating is a very flawed model.
Yeah.
Kind
I'm
by
gonna ask, do
kind.
these giants have huge hogs? I hope so, because I
Yes.
like bacon.
Yes and no, I would say. Yes and no. Because on the one hand, these giants do engage in sexual intercourse with regular-sized human women. So you gotta wonder. Like, they would have to kill them if that were but then they couldn't bear children. So
They also
part
taught
of me
him
thinks that the Nephilim were like tiny-dicked little losers. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Patrick's
That's
trying
right.
to get at him
Get
right on
stuffed,
this
demons.
podcast.
That's right.
There's an interesting.
Fired,
There's
shot
also an
fired.
interesting passage where they talk about Nephilim mating with human women, and right in the same passage is where they talk about them teaching women about the use of plants as well.
Precisely.
People have made links to that to, contraceptive behavior
Yes.
or, ways to influence the births somehow with the actual taking of plants.
But
And
it
they-
also
You know,
says that they
they
taught them
reference-
things like sorcery and magic and stuff that was
Yes.
forbidden knowledge to humans.
I was going to say it was a new conspiracy theory, but I heard a new way of describing Baphomet. It's a trans man with the furry head.
That's exactly what he is.
Baphomet is actually a more recent creation from I think 17 or 1800s. It was 1800s. It was a combination of something Aleister Crowley came up with, as long as a French magician. I can't remember his name, but there wasn't
It's
a
from
Baphomet before
Eliphas
them.
Levi. Eliphas Levi was his magical name, if you will. He was the one that came up with the illustration of Baphomet back in the day.
Yeah.
But
Aleister
another-
Crowley, by the way, since we're talking about Aleister Crowley, Aleister Crowley engaged in the Alamantra workings in Manhattan in I think it was the early 40s or late 30s. And he met an individual, a entity he called Lam, Lam, and he drew a picture of Lam. And in his words, he said, if you what does he say? The word, it's not focus, but if you meditate upon Lamb's eyes, you will be able to commune with Lamb. Look at that picture of Lam by Aleister Crowley.
It's an
And
alien
tell me-
gray.
Tell me that's not an alien gray. And then suddenly, if you follow ufology and you know the chronological events there, before the gray ever appeared, everybody who ever encountered a UFO or an alien always described them as a space brother, just a regular dude, like you and I, who just happened to come out of a spaceship, like a regular human person. But
Do you
the
guys know
moment
the
that
first,
Aleister Crowley engaged in that satanic demonic ritual, suddenly
guys-
now we've got gray aliens.
Okay, I got to hear. Not coming from a traditional pantheon, Baphomet has aspects that come from Egypt, the Templars, the imagination of a French magician named Eliphas Levi, and pushed into the cultural zeitgeist by Aleister Crowley.
The
And do you guys
imagination.
know who the first alien abductee in media was?
Who's that?
First abductee in UFO on film, if you will, was actually Bugs Bunny.
By Marvin the Martian?
Yeah.
Huh.
You know what Marvin the Martian wears on his head?
A Roman centurion's helmet?
Fascinating.
Did you
Yeah.
guys see the video I posted this last week about the cat lady virus? It's actually a
Ye-
parasite.
I started watching it, but I honestly didn't get through the whole thing. Not that I found the subject uninteresting, but those two I've
It's
tried
long.
watching their videos before. They just don't hold my attention. But Omer Glitch asked, "How do y'all explain the missing layers in Earth's crust?" I'm not too
How the
familiar
fuck
with
would
that
you
one.
explain that guy.
Neither am I. King Bawb
Who do you
WG3JO
think I
says,
am?
though, because archaeology is a soft science, it's amazing how few people know this. I don't know in what way he's saying this, but I know it's a soft science, but I also am artistic enough to the opinion where I'm like, look, if it's a soft science, don't present it as fact. And that's what our society
But how else
and
are
our
they supposed
schools
to
do.
How else are they supposed to go about trying to get private money to continue their research if they don't present it like it's fact?
Yeah, so like don't be a piece I was going to say a different word that would not be acceptable. Don't be a piece of shit like you're a liar. If you're presenting it as fact and it's not, you don't know that it's fact, you're a fucking liar. That's really all it comes down to. It's very simple. Lying is very simple. Like truth is very simple, but everybody tries to make it complicated. It's not complicated. It's very, very, very simple.
Omer
Either
Glitch
you know
followed up.
something is true or you don't. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm getting real aggressive. Wrangler,
Yep.
you see what happens when you bring up religion? It wasn't you, but
But
I
that's
think you're
what's
due
making
for
this stream
another
so much
cigarette
fun.
break, Patrick.
Yeah, Omer Glitch says there's like 130 million years missing in the Earth's crust that can't be explained by geologists. He's going to try and dig something up on that.
I'm
Wow.
sure they'll find some way to explain it away.
The cat lady
Forgot to carry
parasite
the two.
used to be carried in the cat poop, but it
Yeah,
has expanded beyond that, and it no longer needs that because what it does is it turns both men and women into degenerates. And
But it
then
makes us better looking somehow.
well, okay, for men, it will increase their height to make them more attractive to women, which gives them more people to infect. And so we kind of have like these crazy degenerate zombies running around, and it also causes them to vote very liberal. But because they're parasites, it's possible that maybe we could use ivermectin on them. But maybe that's why they made so much fun of ivermectin during that one point in time.
I'm going to have to see a
The
study on that one.
toxoplasmosis is such a weird thing.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to see a study on that one.
That's a fascinating theory, though, you've got there. Fascinating.
So I could get infected with this and then take ivermectin and then get infected again and then eventually be over 6 feet.
Omer Glitch. Omer Glitch is addressing, how could a Nephilim mate with a human woman? Well, if a woman can put out a baby head and shoulders, they can take a giant sock.
Actually, though, he's not wrong. As you know, as crass as this subject is to discuss in detail, I'm not saying it's like I'm not blaming you, Omer. We started talking about it. As crass as it is possible.
Today's episode of the Weekly Wing It was brought to you by Nephilim Dog.
It was brought to you by Trojan.
Oh, by the way, Luvapor, Strength of the Dare, Eyes of the Eagle. Have you been watching Brave Star?
Well, that's where I got it from originally, but I haven't watched Brave Star since the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, if this toxoplasmosis can make you 6 foot tall, I might stop taking ivermectin.
Well, I don't know that it would take an existing person to make them taller. I think infected people having an offspring, that offspring would end up being taller.
Oh, I got you. Not take a mature adult. If he gets infected, it makes him taller.
Correct.
It makes the offspring males taller.
See,
to make them more attractive, so it can continue.
If this parasite were smart, it would just increase. It would just increase your yearly salary.
Right, but apparently the parasites can read Tinder profiles, though.
Wait, are you talking about me? I'm not balding, brother. First of all, look at that head.
Yeah,
You're
there's
right.
hair
It is
there.
a good head. It's a perfectly shaped head. I just shaved my hair, bro. I'm not balding.
Can I tell you what my first impression what my first impression was when I saw you?
Sure.
I thought he looks like a mix between Eminem and Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh my god.
You know,
At least it's
You know,
not
it's
the
funny
flashlight
because
head.
like I have at least 5 middle-aged black women
You're
a
a
week
slim wizard.
call
Harry.
me Justin Timberlake. I'm like, hey, I'll take it. Hey,
I see
can't
that
argue
too.
with that.
Actually, yeah, that makes sense.
No, I just shaved my head. Normally, I've got beautiful, luscious hair, but not right now.
Pixar didn't happen.
Deep edges. Yeah, they are kind of deep, but don't worry. It looks good when it's grown out. Don't worry. Kind of alien. Fuck you, Omer Glitch. My head is perfectly shaped.
I mean, that's another
Oh
topic
my
related
God.
to the giants is the elongated skulls as well.
Yes, it is.
yeah.
Yes, it is. It's almost like all these subjects
cone
are
heads.
related to one another, and we all try to like overcomplicate it for ourselves by going, "Oh, well, it had to be a different species, or it couldn't be this because they don't look exactly like this." Guys, the world was fucking wild for a little bit there. Like there were some crazy
You
things.
think
that
it's
were
not
going
wild nowadays?
No. It's a
Did-
lot more explainable now. And I think that,
Yeah.
like I said before, I think everything occurs because of human consciousness and human will for things to be a certain way. Now, back in the day, the Nephilim and the old gods ruled the world. And so what they willed, what they thought, what they perceived, what they had consciousness of was what was reality. And so the human mind, which has been indoctrinated by, like I said, material empiricism, it struggles, it desperately clings to the idea that everything must be explainable in some way to us scientifically. It desperately, like the modern human mind desperately desires for everything to be explainable in a modern human understanding of things. But that's not how reality is, and that's not how reality ever was, or history. And
No.
so when we come across things that essentially, spit in history, what we understand to be history's face, we go either we say, "Oh, that's fake," or you get made fun of. That's the reality that we live in nowadays, folks. Where if you question things, if you say, "I think that the ancients and what they thought and what they said is 100% real," you're looked upon as a crackpot. Like that's the crazy world we live in now.
Now, you say we're hooked on material empiricism, but half the country believes men can transform into women with surgery.
Yeah,
So,
true.
the more
Yes.
things change, the more they become the same.
But
based
that's
on
not. But
based
you
on
see,
feelings.
that's not.
And also
that's
hold
not-
still if you come across a giant. Their
But that
vision
doesn't,
works
it
on
doesn't
movement.
disagree with the
Changes
material
more.
empiricism because those people follow science as their god. And when the priests of their religion, the scientists, say, "Well, yes, a man can become a woman, and a man can't," well, we're doing the procedures right now. Of course you can. All we got to do is do a little procedure, and then you can become a woman. That's what those
Chromosomes
believe.
say otherwise.
So the people at the top, the people who have some brain cells, do they really believe that a man can become a woman? Of course not. But that idea that you can assert upon to the masses, the stupid masses who would believe such a thing, if enough people wearing white coats told them, that is something that is useful. Like you can use that to your advantage. That's what's occurring right there.
And they monetize it too.
Yeah, do you know how much money the transsexual medical industry makes? It's ridiculous. So I'm not saying
Once they go through that
Sorry,
procedure, they're stuck on medications the rest of their life.
right.
They can't even argue it officially until they could pass a karyote test. No amount of hormones nor amount of surgery can take over what the karyote test says. The karyote test is your genos, it's your chromosomes, and you cannot change that. So anybody who understands real science cannot argue that you can change your sex until you can officially find a way to fool the karyote test.
Yes. But you see, most people don't I agree with you, but most people don't understand real science. They can't even.
Well,
Most people can't even grasp the concepts.
And real scientists
real
can be
science.
corrupted as well. Like if
Right.
you-
So,
Yes, very
Well,
much
science
so.
somebody with
advances one
authority,
funeral at a
check in
time.
front of their
if
faces,
somebody with authority
they
tells
can
you this is the
say
truth,
what you want them to say.
that's the truth.
Science advances one funeral at a time because the
so-
people who are the bigwigs in science are so attached to their theories and ideas that you can't really go move past them until they pass.
Well,
Does
it's
somebody
the
really want to show us
academic
this video?
intelligentsia. They're the ones who say this is how the world is, and it only ends when said people pass into the greater beyond past life.
Fu Man Blue says science is racist to those freaks.
Exactly. It is. Yeah.
Well, Omer provided us with a link to a short explaining the whole missing layers of geology. So let's check that out real quick. Whoops. Until I hit the wrong
One of
button. There we
geology's
go.
biggest mysteries is this: a gap in the Earth's rock record so extensive that it's been called geology's missing chapter. It's formally known as the Great Unconformity, and it shows up around the world. It represents anywhere from 250 million to 1.5 billion years of missing geological history. For example, at the Grand Canyon, you can literally place your hand on the boundary where 550 million year old rock sits on top of 1.7 billion year old rocks, with over a billion years simply missing. What makes us so bonkers is that this isn't a local phenomenon. This has been identified on every continent. So what the heck happened? Here's what we know so far. During this missing period, Earth was really going through it. A lot of major things were happening on Earth. The first complex life emerged, possible snowball Earth,
Can you
global
pause it right
glacial
there,
events
please?
occurred.
Everything she's saying is conjecture and theory.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't think
Like,
Earth is that old.
The
Right,
first
at least
question that
about
comes to
the Earth
mind is
stuff.
how do they measure the age of the rocks? How do they
Yeah.
know a rock is 1
Right.
billion
If it's by
years old?
carbon dating, then that's automatically,
Questionable.
not reliable.
I think
Which
it's
it more
carbon
than
fault.
likely is.
Yeah, and on top of that, I think what they're looking at, they see one area and then another area that doesn't match up to it, like something's not right there. My guess is that's the Great Flood.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they'd like to say glaciers a lot, but
Carbon dating has a 50,000-year-old limit. Beyond that, I believe they use stuff like uranium, lead, potassium, argon. For
How do you
dating
get to a
stuff.
point where you go, yeah, this is you have no control factor. There's
Also,
zero
here's
control factor. How can you understand if and I'm not yelling at you. I'm saying I'm like all of these bullshit ways to measure the age of something. If you don't have a control factor where if you literally don't have a fucking dude from back then who goes, yes, that's what happened. Also, that soil sample is indicative of that. If you don't have literally somebody telling you that that's what happened, how the fuck do you know, like, yeah, this measurement that we're taking is actually legitimate? Like, you don't know this stuff. Like, you can base it off of mathematical models, but that's the best that you can do. That is all of, like, that makes up that 75% of the truth and the reality that our world believes right now is fucking mathematical models. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
equals
you know,
MC
I
squared.
I get so passionate about this shit. Like,
I
there's no
actually-
evidence to support this shit, but they go, well, it's a mathematical model, so it must be real. Your mathematical model is based off of ideas that you had. They're not based off of reality. Like,
I
you
think
don't
you
have
have
somebody
misheard,
go, yeah, with
Patrick.
this
I think it's a
control
meth model.
I'm sorry. I get so mad.
Equals MC squared, except it doesn't, because that was just the beginning of where the calculation started.
Dude, there was
Right.
like 40 scientists in Germany saying Einstein was full of shit. Like,
There were 40 scientists in Germany saying that never mind.
yeah, Einstein was a brilliant. Had a brilliant imagination.
Yes,
But he
did.
himself says that I just went blank. Dang it.
he did
But
say that.
all right,
Homer-
well, I'll pivot to something else on Einstein.
Tell us how
Somebody
old-
once asked
Not
him,
possible.
what was that, Patrick?
Omer says science and atoms can tell us how old some things are. It's not impossible.
Okay, I actually
Show
also
me how
want to
that
add
works
in this.
outside of a mathematical model.
I just
like,
want to add in this. Who's this chick we're listening to? Like, Is this really like a?
I don't know. It's just providing context to the curiosity that Omer had brought up.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
she's
I'll
not
shut
really
up.
hot. I don't believe her.
I don't believe half the shit. I don't believe 100% of the shit I don't look into myself.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm one of those guys who thinks black holes are a load of crap. Somebody once asked Einstein what it's like to be the smartest man on Earth, and Einstein said, "I don't know. You'll have to ask Nikola Tesla."
Who might have possibly been the smartest man on Earth, and he was killed by the CIA.
But yeah, there's a lot of things in science that are just spoken of as fact, and I'm like, yeah, I don't buy it. And relativity, a lot of I saw something, and again, I'm just going off something somebody else on YouTube said, a YouTube channel, where they were going over how all this stuff that Einstein tried to explain with relativity can be explained with classic Newtonian physics without all the magical mumbo jumbo. But even then, it's like,
dude, Einstein married his cousin. Like, you have to stop worshiping the dude.
I'm a redneck, so I got no room to listen to that.
I didn't say his female cousin.
Oh! Omer Gliss says, yes, they speculate the flood might be some of the missing crust stuff.
And who's this they you speak of?
The committee of they.
That's the problem with all of this. Like, do you guys like? That's the thing that I'm trying. Like, okay, you asked me before, like, what the point of phenomenon was. The point of phenomenon is to break down the barriers between religion and science. No, Wrangler did.
Yeah, that was before we went live.
That's the point of this book, is to break down these fake barriers between religion and science. There are no barriers between knowledge. Knowledge is knowledge. That's
science did not start to expand until about 2,000 years ago. What else happened around 2,000 years ago?
I believe it was
Christianity.
It was John Lennox who said that all the four founders of the sciences whom we quote today are Christian, and that's because they believed in God. They believed in a lawgiver.
Right.
Therefore, they believed there was a law to everything around them. They went into science expecting to find something.
Yeah, they did so in order to understand God better, is where science started.
And if you come from a perspective where everything's random, which it ought to be from the atheistic perspective, and you go into science, then you're gonna you'll never do anything, because you're always going to try to be finding out some kind of connection between randomness and meaning.
Even Darwin himself gave credit to a higher being, but everybody takes that part of his studies out and then argues the Darwin evolution.
Oh,
it's amazing how many things are still pushed today where the person who thought them up near the end of their lives said, you know what, I think that was all wrong.
Also,
heck, even Karl Marx, before he died, said his concepts were made for a world that no longer exists. They're bad ideas. And now people in this day and age try to push his ideals that he himself said, you know what, they're garbage.
If that's the exact phrasing of his words, that still sounds like he's coping a little bit. I'm not going to lie. A world that no longer exists, meaning man isn't good enough for the system he proposes.
Well,
perhaps
you know what so in ancient Greece they didn't have the term science. Not even that conceptually they didn't have it. You know what? Science got its start as natural philosophy. So it was just it was the tenets of philosophy applied to observation of the natural world. That's what science used to be.
Weird science, my creation, is it real?
All right, I think I'm gonna have to hop out of the stream tonight. It is getting a little late over here. It has been fun though.
Oh yeah. It's
Oh wow, yeah, it is. This was went longer than usual. Patrick hopped on and got us going in an awesome conversation.
I'm sorry if I offended anybody or if I yelled at anybody or made them feel.
Yeah, I don't think he yelled at anybody.
When
but
I
Apology
get
accepted,
passionate about,
Patrick.
like, this is the subject I get passionate most about. So if I was yelling at you or your opinion, I do apologize.
Well, that's my secret. I'm always offended.
We surprisingly went way over.
We did.
yeah, it was fun. This was a lot
Yeah.
of fun tonight.
Can I say one thing before we go?
Oh.
And it's really not me saying one thing, but me just sharing
you ask?
something really quick.
Go for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested in giants and their like some strange historical aberrations of giants in Native American culture, I would highly recommend. Wrangler, would you mind sharing that there?
Sharon, which where?
The thing
Oh,
that
I see
just
it. I see it.
I would highly recommend that you head on over to fundmycomic.com, the greatest fundraising comic book website of all time. That's not it.
Why is this? Oh, I have to remove this to
Yes.
add
Yes.
that. Okay.
Remove her.
And
you
check
go.
out my comic book, Phenomenal Tales #2, River of Blood. Essentially, long story short, and I will make it very short, it's the story of a young man who's got to avenge the death of his entire tribe by a supernatural terror known as the Wetiko, pictured here. But the only way that he can kill this Wetiko is if he discovers its origins. And so he's got to travel south to learn at the feet of a shaman master where the Wetiko came from, how to kill it. And he learns he hears a very interesting tale from that Native American shaman master, that legendary guy, about giants and Native Americans. And so yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it's a beautiful, spectacular art by Peter Gilmore, the CG art, or the CG the CG king of horror.
Nice.
And I would recommend getting this wraparound cover, which is spectacular. It's an environmental piece
Beautiful
by
piece,
Peter.
yeah.
Just spectacular.
And
This
that
is my
one's
favorite.
a special edition as well. Like you'll have extra making of or sketches.
That's right.
It will be.
It's going to be at
beefier.
least 25 extra pages of making of and special edition stuff. If
And
you
fun
want to catch
fact,
up,
I may have a cameo in this book. Yeah.
oh, you do. It's not fun for you, but it's going to be it's going to be fun for me.
Oh, there's everyone's favorite Blue Rose.
Right. That's right. If you want to catch up on my other comic books, Phenomenon Alpha, Phenomenon 1999 Alpha is the way to go. We've got this beautiful cover by Andrew Scott Marshall of the Blue Rose here. It's going to collect Phenomenon #2, Phenomenal Tales #1 Minotaur, and it also collects a. I made it when I didn't make Claudio, my artist for Phenomenon.
Claudio.
Did a recap essentially of the first issue, which is no longer being sold, and so you get all of that plus a ton of concept art and behind the scenes shit. This is going to be at least 100 pages, 120 pages or so.
Oh wow.
So for $25, I think that's what I charged for it, right? Didn't I?
120 pages for $25.
$25 is what I charged
That-
this, but yeah, you're going to get a
Not a lot of the
shit ton
prices
of
out
work
there. That's a
for
good deal.
This is gonna, it's gonna be one of the best deals of all time. So, anyway, thanks for looking at this book. It's about, it's a pseudo historical tale about a young man trying to get revenge on a giant supernatural being. So, thank you guys.
Awesome.
Yay.
Now, this
Thanks
is
for coming on,
James.
Patrick.
Hello, friends.
My pleasure.
You can follow me at worldwithoutendlore.substack.com, where I'm currently releasing my brand new series called The Evergreen, which will be releasing every single week for the next 14 weeks. So stay tuned for that. You can also find me on Royal Road, where I will be producing the exact same series. But because Royal Road doesn't allow you to, and Substack does, you can actually find a free PDF, fully formatted, of every single new installment of Evergreen on my Substack. That's worldwithoutendlore.substack.com, or you can find me at Royal Road. Look for World Without End and Royal Road.
Want me to run that trailer real quick, James?
Yeah, go ahead, run it.
Through hollow night, our voices soar. We roam no more, our spirits roar. In dust and shield, our hearts burn free. We sing the spark of destiny. No throne, no crown, no gilded lore. Our oath resounds forevermore. Against the tide, we stand as one. Our crow will echo when dark is done.
Yeah, that's
All
the
right.
evergreen
Wow.
right there.
That was a Frederick piece there on the cover there, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. He did the cover art for me.
Spectacular.
All right.
Beautiful.
Liverpool.
Yeah, I've got a Substack under the same name. I've barely written anything on it. I'm here by virtue of the fact that I play a weekly Castles and Crusades game with the Lord Otter and Wrangler here, pretty much, and that sometimes I can do wacky voices.
And your voice power are inversely proportional to your health, it seems.
Yes, indeed.
Raven.
Hey, I'm still working on my story. So in the meantime, read Herman P. Hunter's book or the Lord Otter's book. Go buy their books.
Nice.
All right. Maji. You're muted. There you go.
I got nothing.
You got your book. What are you talking about? We talked about it in the very beginning.
We did. It's still in progress. It's coming.
But
Can
it's
people
getting
not-
a
they
lot
can't back it
closer than
yet?
it was before. All right. Frederick Guimon.
We're getting there.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me as usual. I've got a campaign out for Rattel. If you go to rattelcomic.com, you'll find the links for either the Fund My Comic link or the Geyser.fund link as well. And I've got a show tomorrow with a special guest who I don't even know who it is. I haven't looked it up today. Back from the mountains where it was snowing like crazy. We had to get the road snowed out. It was wild. Mid-November. I've never seen this in all my life. So check out the comic. I bought some new pages to get started on the second book soon. So that's in the works as well. And on Saturdays, I'm also on the Comic Skate Commandos. And Patrick's channel was attacked yesterday. And this week's episode is on my channel if you want to check it out. We talk about very difficult subject, but a very heartwarming, down-to-earth discussion about it.
All right. Oops, wrong button. There we go, right button. All right, and you can find my stuff on Amazon. You got Haley Star, Bad Kitty, and Bad Kitty Haley's World. Magic-fueled sci-fi adventures, fun for all ages. It's a little bit Goonies, a little bit fantasy, a whole lot of fun. So you could go on there and follow the adventures of Haley, Elizabeth, and Sabrina. And a little short story in the same world on my Substack under Frequency Studios. Hey, you can find me in places like Twitter, Truth, Blue Sky, Minds, if I ever actually remember to open any of them up besides Twitter's the only one I remember to open up. I haven't looked at the others in months. I got to go check those. But I am on there under Frequency Studios. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us
I just
tonight.
got the name of the guest for tomorrow. Our guest tomorrow is Michael Ferraro.
Oh, nice.
That's a cool name. Ferraro.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah,
he's
he's
a
been
good
doing
guy.
the rounds in the indie comic space, comic skate space. He's got an interesting comic with a lot of girls in it. So if you're into chicks with powers, I think you're going to like this one.
If you get more than one of them in a room, they're the Michael's Ferrari.
A grammar joke. That's amazing.
They're the best, aren't they?
I'm so glad I got to hear a grammar joke before the show ended. Thank you. I really do appreciate that.
Name of the pair.
It kind of surprises me. A stream full of writers, and we don't have as many grammar jokes as
That's
we
what I'm
should.
saying.
All right. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us. It was a good time. Patrick, thanks for spicing things up. This
It was
was an
a pleasure.
absolute
Thank you for
blast.
having me. I appreciate
If you enjoyed this presentation, hit the like, and if you didn't, we appreciate you stopping by. We'll see you next time, and God bless.
Au revoir.
So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen.
Adieu, adieu,
Arrivederci.
adieu.
Sayonara, sucker.
That too, yeah.
Jewish space lasers.
Good night, everybody.